Well, the Carolina Panthers were, so close. And I mean to winning the playoff game on Saturday. What a heartbreaker it was in the CLT. That's where we begin the show today. Welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. So good to be with you on this Monday edition of the show. And Diesel, I was pulling hard for those Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young played a good game on Saturday night.
He did.
But ultimately, the defense let the team down. What a game it was. Almost got it done, right?
Almost got it done. I just wonder, Cole, before we get too deep into this topic, and I have a lot of thoughts on this game. Were you serious when you texted me before the game? Where you said, if Carolina wins this, I'm going to renounce my Dallas Cowboys fandom and go full bore as a Panthers fan. Were you really going to do that, or were you going to wait for your first opportunity and reason and flip back to the Cowboys?
You know what? It crossed my mind. I will tell you, it crossed my mind, and here's why. So I sent you that text on Saturday, and genuinely, Diesel, I was pulling for Carolina. I was driving at the time. I was listening to Anish Roth on the radio call. I could hear the stadium. I could hear the fans. I could hear the excitement. And it was freaking awesome. It was awesome. And I told myself, hey, I'm not a Panther fan, but guess what I'm going to do today, Diesel? I'm going to pull for the Panthers today. And you know what? I even told myself, you know what? If they win today, maybe, just maybe I forget my past and move on from the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know that I would have been able to do it, but it did cross my mind.
You know, you could still do it. You could just do it right now.
I know, but it
right now.
It wouldn't feel the same. I genuinely, no. All kidding aside, I wanted the Panthers to win Saturday night.
You were entirely putting your fandom on Bryce Young?
One game.
Oh, good luck with that.
One game. My entire fandom basically rode on one game, correct. But I will say, that environment in Charlotte on Saturday night, Carolina, it's been a long time. Not as long as Chicago, right? The night game, which wasn't terrific. We'll get into that later. But Diesel, having playoff football back in Charlotte was exciting. And, my Cowboys suck. They're not in the playoffs. And I was genuinely excited for you and the Panther fans out there. I wanted the Panthers to bring home a big win. And you know what? They were right there. They were right there. They had every opportunity. Like I said a minute ago, Bryce Young played really well on Saturday. I can't be Mr. Critique Bryce Young today.
Sure.
He played well.
264, a touchdown, and an interception.
But the defense let us down, man, especially on that last drive.
Yeah, I mean, it could come back to the almost interception of Matt Stafford. I don't know who the Panthers DB was on that, but they were throwing it Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
He caught it at the goal line. He had it. Puka comes in at the last second, punches the ball out. A phenomenal play for him, having to turn around and be a DB. That catch is made, or that interception is made, that's ball game, right?
It would be.
Very, very high likelihood of being ball game right there. But yeah, it begs a huge question. What the heck was Edger Avero seeing on that final possession that told him, play off man? Why was he lining up all of his DBs 7, 8, 10 yards away from the guys that they're playing against? Because Matt Stafford, who has a Super Bowl, he's got 3 Pro Bowls, he is too dang good. You cannot give him an 8-yard cushion every single play of that drive. When you see him picking you apart for the first 2 or 3 receptions, he went 7 of 8 on that final drive, by the way.
Yeah.
When you see him pick up 2 or 3 receptions on you like that, and all of a sudden, wow, they're at the 50-yard line. Why don't you say, you know what, maybe we should get up and play some press coverage or cover 2. That way you got press coverage on the edges, but you got safeties back deep.
You know,
I don't get it.
I was from the very get-go of the game, it kind of looked like early Diesel, the Rams could run away with it. I thought the Panthers did a great job. Their defense did a great job of keeping them in the game. I was almost very, very critical of Dave Canales yet again. I still am going to be today. But, like, for example, first half, you're watching the game. I was listening to it at the time, and Anish Shroff, that their broadcast is freaking phenomenal. They do such a good job. They line up, and it's what? Was it 4th and 1? 4th and 1. The Panthers wanted to go for it, which I love, right? Season on the line. Let's go for it. And 4th and 1, the play call right there was just absolutely horrendous. Throw the ball. They threw it, and guess what? Incomplete. I texted you. I said, run the freaking ball. Run the ball, man. I didn't understand the play calling. I agree with you. The Bryce Young down the stretch, like that last drive, he made some really good throws. That last quarter, rather, he made some good throws. But here's where I am now that the season's over. This is kind of big picture. We'll dive deeper into the game and what went wrong for Carolina in a second, Diesel. But before I forget to get to this, big picture on the Panthers this season, I don't know that you can evaluate what happened in 2025 from a play calling standpoint and give Dave Canales anything above a C. I just don't think – I don't think they were well coached.
I agree.
I mean –
I agree. How do you make that mistake that you just talked about? 4th and short.
Yeah.
You go for it 3 times on 4th down. Now, one of them was the end of the game, final play of the game. But if you take the 2 before that, one was a 4th and 1. The other one, I think, was a 4th and 3. And you're lining Bryce Young up in the shotgun and having him roll out when your offensive line is getting absolutely mauled on your side of the field. Like, right. I get that you're like, we're not even supposed to be here. We're playing with house money. Let's be aggressive. But not from your 35 when you're playing Matt Stafford and the Rams. Kick the ball.
Well,
play some field position game.
Here's what I would say, and I think you're right on the money there. I believe I had this conversation over the weekend. I believe, Diesel, that there's some Panther fans out there who kind of are pulling both ways on this. I believe there's a lot of Panther fans who are in disagreement on this conversation because while I say I don't think the Panthers are a very well-coached team, a lot of fans say, Cole, how could you say that when Dave Canales improved drastically from last season, took them to a division championship and a playoff game against a really good Rams team and almost beat them again? So, like, I understand where fans feel like, hey, we drastically improved from last year. At times, we were really, really good this year. I don't think the best players for this Panthers team were consistent all season. Like Chuba Hubbard, for example. He was the guy Saturday night.
Yeah.
Where's Rico Dowdle been? Rico was almost a non-factor on Saturday.
Chuba had 46 on the ground, and he had another 13 in the air.
Yeah. So I mean, a decent day, right?
Decent day. I mean, what is that? I'm not great at math here. That's a 59-yard day.
Yeah.
Jalen Coker was the man.
It was the Jalen Coker game. You've got to make sure that guy stays a Panther because he's a bright spot. That guy really is a bright spot. And again, it wasn't Bryce Young's fault. What'd you say? 21 of 40, 264. He had a few rushing yards as well, 24 yards. He had that one rushing touchdown. Rico Dowdle down the stretch of the season kind of disappeared. You knew what you were going to get, though, with Stafford. 24 of 42, 304, 3 touchdowns. You did pick him off. And me and you talked about that on Friday, Diesel, how if you could pick that guy off, if you could turn the Rams over, you had a shot. And guess what? The Panthers did. They turned him over, and they had a shot. Now, the problem is there's a guy on the other side named Puka Nacua, and that guy whose name is Puka Nacua is pretty dang good. 10 for 111, 2 tutties. The impact on the run game, like, he's a game changer. Mm-hmm. And while I love what Carolina did this year, watching that game on Saturday, Diesel, and watching them this season, they don't have that level of a game breaker. Even though Ted McMillan's going to be good, I think it was a great draft pick. I think that was a solid draft pick by the Panthers, and I think Ted McMillan's going to be a really good receiver. They don't have a game breaker like the Rams had. And when you're in the playoffs, when you have a guy like Puka Nacua that can literally change the game, it's a big, big plus. I love what the Rams did. I thought also, Diesel, while I do blame the Panthers defense down the stretch, I think Carolina missed a few opportunities early. It was a 14-0 lead from the Rams, right? They jumped out 14-0. The Panthers had a few miscues and mistakes earlier in the game, drop passes in key moments, bad play calling, special teams miscues. So I say all that to say, when you're in a big game like they were against the Rams, I don't think you can afford to start slow, and they did on Saturday.
No, you gotta play perfect. I mean, I think we said they gotta be probably at least they needed to be at least +1, probably +2 in the turnover battle to win that football game, and they simply didn't get that one done. It hurts when you have Trevor Etienne letting punts doink off his face mask, and then you put them in prime position to go. Like, those are the mistakes you can't have. If that doesn't happen, you win the football game. You know, if you don't try to, Marsha Brady and take the ball off the face, then that's 7 points off the board for the Rams right there.
Sure.
So that's ball game right there. Whether or not Dave Canales is a good coach or not, it's still up to be seen. I don't want to. I wouldn't want to like have a young head coach who doesn't have any confidence in himself, who doesn't want to ever be aggressive. I don't want a coach who coaches scared.
Yeah.
But you got to start coaching smart. He's not coaching scared. He's coaching stupid sometimes.
Yeah.
Going for it on 4th and short twice inside your own on your own side of the field when you're playing the Rams in a playoff game. It's those head-scratching moments that if you don't give them all that additional yardage, then we're not in that situation. The great thing for the Carolina Panthers is now you have a much better picture of where you are and of what you need. Defense is pretty good. I'm sure they can make some tweaks and some changes on the defensive side of the ball, but they're much improved over last year. You can always certainly get a little bit better over there. But if they, Cole, could, number one, get themselves another elite tight end. I mean, that's no shade on Tommy Tremble. He was good all season long, kind of a non-factor yesterday. If they can get themselves another legitimate wide receiver to go with Tet and Jalen Coker out of Holy Cross, and for God's sakes, get rid of Xavier Legette. Yeah. He is a liability. Xavier Legette sucks. I know you South Carolina fans, you don't want to hear that, because you feel good about his time at South Carolina, and he was great in college.
Well, he had one good year at Carolina.
Yeah, nobody can take that away from him. But for the Carolina Panthers, Xavier Legette sucks.
Well,
he's got to go.
My point is, other than the one good year he had in Columbia, he wasn't great. Like his junior year, he wasn't great. He had one good year, and it just so happened to be his last year in college, and it got him a draft pick, and it got him a first-round pick. And don't get me wrong, it was a good year he had in the last year of his college career. But no, to your point, why the Panthers lost the game on Saturday, all of the things, Diesel, that we said are true, the mental miscues, special teams, yada, 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 all those are true. But at the end of the day, big picture, you said it gives you an idea of where you are. You played a really good Rams team, not once but twice. You beat them the first time, and you almost beat them the second time. So I think if you're Carolina, if you're Dan Morgan, you feel good about where you are because you have had plenty of litmus tests, Diesel, this season to give you an idea of what you need, what's worked, what hasn't worked. And the bottom line is Jimmy's and Joe's. At the end of the day, it comes down to Jimmy's and Joe's. You didn't have the Jimmy's and Joe's on Saturday to win that game. A lot of things went right for you in the first game where they turned it over a few times. You were able to capitalize. That's not going to happen every time you play a good team. The Rams on paper are a better team than you are. So guess what? When you don't have the Jimmy's and Joe's, it's hard to beat them that second time. Carolina, fortunately, got Stafford one time. Mike Jackson, I believe it was, Diesel, who got him one time. You had an opportunity, but at the end of the day in the NFL, the Jimmy's and Joe's matter. And the Jimmy's and Joe's that you just mentioned, Xavier Legette, no doubt, it's got to go. They've got to keep Jalen Coker. I think you take Bryce on the 5th year because in the biggest game of the year, Bryce Young played well, right? You pick up the 5th-year option. He played really well on Saturday. You can't blame him for the loss. He had one interception, right?
Well, I can blame him for that final possession because that was god-awful.
Yeah.
He in the biggest moment of his career, Mr. fourth quarter comeback, Bryce Young, who had more fourth quarter game-winning drives than anybody else in the NFL this year because his team put him in that position more often than a lot of other quarterbacks were in. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Like, he couldn't hit anybody. Those 4 pass plays at the end, the closest one was on a crossing route, and he threw it at the ground behind his receiver. I mean, like, I'm happy for him that he had a 268-yard day, and that's great for Bryce. If he could give the Carolina Panthers that regularly, we're talking about probably a 10-win team this year. Mm-hmm. But we also see the Bryce Young that might as well be throwing it into the stands.
Yeah, and that's the problem. You can't get rid of him right now because he does give you an option. He does give you a pretty good day a lot of the times, right? Now, you said it. He's not perfect, right? He had some mistakes down the stretch of that game. I do think you stick with him for one more year. You have to, because you saw enough, Diesel, positive in 2025. Even though I've been one of his biggest critics, I will say you've seen enough from him in 2025 to pick up the fifth-year option, bring him back, because you do need some consistency, you do need some continuity, and you do need to keep building around Bryce Young. The last thing you want to do is throw him to the wolves and say, forget it, we've got to go and get somebody else. You've got these young receivers. You're trying now to break in a new quarterback with a new head coach. You keep Bryce Young for next year. You're right. You have to draft well. I think they need to also be very active in free agency, Diesel, because I love Xavier Legette, but you're right. He's just not a threat right now for the Panthers. And he's almost a wasted roster spot at this moment. He has no impact on the game. And, at first he was a fun story in the NFL, but he doesn't impact the game whatsoever. His routes kind of are lazy. They're meh routes. And when you have a guy like Ted McMillan, who you brought in, Diesel, from the first round, much like Xavier the year before, Ted's doing things the right way. Like, he's running crisp routes. He's getting to his spots, right, on the field. He's really good, Ted is. So I don't disagree with anything you said. I do think continuity and consistency is important in the National Football League. I think you pick up Bryce one more year, you have a good draft, you add another receiver, you've got to get better in a few spots on defense as well, because guess what? At the end of the day, the defense gave up that touchdown for the Rams to hit 34 points, and they prevented you an opportunity to win that game because you had the lead. You had to lead late in that game on Saturday.
Dewey on the stream. And by the way, Tolos, you can jump in on the stream on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. Just search for The Fan Upstate. Dewey says, XL is a joke, plain and simple. He rode into the game on his horse.
Did he really?
Did you see that?
No.
Like, all the other players, they ride up in their Bentleys and their Cadillacs and whatever else. Xavier Legette rode in a horse. He rode in on his horse, and then he gets one catch for 8 yards in the game. You can't. I mean, we talked about this last year with South Carolina and baseball, and how the team was joking and laughing even after they lost. Right? Like, you don't want to kill somebody's sparkle, so to speak. Like, you don't want to take away his confidence by telling him, like, "Hey, man, stop being an idiot." But hey, man, stop being an idiot.
Well, all that cute stuff's fine if he's playing good.
But he's not. That's the thing.
He's not. So nobody cares about the horse and the accent and the ponies. Nobody cares anymore.
Yeah.
He's not playing good.
There's a promo running with Big Kev. It says Xavier Legette rode his voice and his funny accent all the way to an NFL draft pick, and then he's done nothing with it. Absolutely nothing. So I don't want to – next year going into Bank of America Stadium for a Panthers game, I don't want to see any, fake deep fried raccoon bites available in the concession stand. I don't want to see Xavier Legette's moonshine water for sale in the little drink kiosks. None of that stuff. I don't want to see Xavier Legette's face anywhere inside that stadium except on the field until he has multiple games of at least 60 yards.
And this might be harsh. I didn't see enough to bring him back. I mean, I know you might not get a lot for him, so your option might be to keep him. Keep him on the roster. But I just didn't see enough. I didn't see enough to bring him back.
Practice squad.
Good. On the Joy Law Firm text line real quick, Jarrett Tripp gets in. He says, I'm a big South Carolina fan. I believe that XL had been a Complete bust at Carolina. I hate saying that because I love Excel as a person. Well, you're right, Jared. He has been a bust. And we all wanted him to be a lot better, right? But the Diesel's point, he hadn't been. Texter gets in from the 680, says, Cole, the Eagles lost. How about them Cowboys? No doubt, Texter. Look, the Cowboys aren't in the playoffs. I obviously know that. But Monday, today, is a great day. The sun's shining, Diesel. You see how blue the sky is? I know the Panthers lost, but the sky's really blue today because there are a few things that really, change my mood in sports. I've tried to get past that. I don't want sports to change my mood, but the Cowboys winning does, and the Eagles losing does. And the Eagles lost yesterday. So to your point, Texter, 100%. It's a great day. The Eagles are meeting the Cowboys and everybody else in Cancun. I couldn't love it more. Sorry, but the 49ers, what a game that. We'll get into it later. What a game that was. What a play call. What a coach they have in Kyle Shanahan. And, Eagles fans, Eric Hines, and the rest of you, hate to tell you, but you're not playing next week. Your season's over. Love to see it, baby.
Love to see it. Cole, we got a huge show lined up for you today coming up at 4:20. Grayson Mann of TigerNet going to join the show at 4 o'clock. Cole, we are going to roast sports figures for anything at all. And want to get your thoughts on this radical new proposed change to Major League Baseball from Rob Manfred. But in the very next segment, Cole, let's jump into this topic right here. What can we take from the Indiana beatdown over Oregon, and is Miami in deep trouble? That's next.
Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
I read a rumor, Cole, that the reason why Indiana beat the ever-loving tar out of Oregon on Friday night was an up yours to the college football playoff punditry who were blasting James Madison for getting blasted by Oregon.
Could have been.
I don't know if there's any truth to that, but oh my God, that was a beatdown of epic proportions. 56-22, the final score. Oregon picked up a couple of points there in garbage time. I mean, I guess at that point it's all garbage time in the second half when you're down the way the Oregon Ducks were. But oh my God, I did not see that coming at all. I thought we were in for another epic game of 25, 30, 35 points by either team, and it was going to come down to the wire because we got that on Thursday with the Miami Ole Miss game. We got a great game there. And as soon as we all start feeling good about, okay, big brands are here. The big boys are playing football now. They're all going to be evenly matched. They're going to go at each other. Oregon just absolutely lays an egg against them. And Dante Moore, who you have been very high on all season, had 3 turnovers in the game.
And Diesel, here's where I am on it, and I'd love to get your thoughts and the Tolos as well on the Joy Law Firm text line, 844-326-3663. I've been trying to figure out for the past 3 days now, does this say more about Indiana and them being just that dominant, or does it say more about Oregon letting us down once again? Because we've seen this movie before, right, with Dan Lanning in Oregon. We've been told before, Diesel, that Dan Lanning in Oregon, they're here, they're for real, they're here to stay, they're a legitimate contender. And look, they had a really good season, not taking anything away from their season because they did have a really good season. But like you just said, it looked like they did not even belong on that football field Friday. So does it say more about Indiana for just them being flat dominant, or does it say more about Dan Lanning letting us down once again? Personally, I think it says more about Indiana. I think Indiana's just that good. Like, if you would have told me on Friday that Indiana was going to score 56 points on Oregon, I would have probably told you, like, maybe in basketball. But they were dominant. Indiana looks head and shoulders better than everyone. I personally think it says more about Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Dan, he's been playing in the Big Ten for a couple of years. He's been in some big-time games. Oregon was playing lights-out football. I mean, they blanked Texas Tech the week prior. We thought, wow, okay, they're playing some really good defense. And then all of a sudden, your thoughts and your expectations are turned completely on their heads. This is not linear, right? So you can't say Indiana's that much better than Oregon, and Oregon is that much better than Texas Tech, and Oregon is that much better than James Madison. It just goes to prove, Cole, that any given day on the field, anything could happen, even when a team is playing elite level football for the weeks leading up to it. Oregon had multiple games coming into this one to get their feet back under them. And Indiana just swept the leg, Johnny, just put them on the mat. It was over. It was over early. And, it's hard to come back for the kind of mistakes that Oregon was having. I mean, for God's sakes, Dante Moore fumbled the ball on like the 7.
Yeah, it was bad.
When the game was still young, and he could never get his head back on straight after that moment.
First play of the game, I mean, that there.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
True. I forgot about
that. You talk about first play of the game, bam, pick 6. What do you do? I was calling the Burns game, and Reggie Shaw, the football coach, was sitting to my left, and he was watching the game as well. And he showed me, and I couldn't believe it. It almost felt like in that moment the game was over, right? It almost felt like the game was over. Indiana had it. I'll say this. I've said this multiple times, and you brought this up about how Oregon could be so good during the regular season but look so bad. Football, I think one thing is that's very important for all of us to remember, Diesel, regardless of what level it is, high school, college, or pro. Football, 11-on-11 football is about matchups, how this team matches up against this team. You're right. Oregon's still like a really good team. This loss doesn't just all of a sudden qualify them as a sorry freaking football team and qualify Dan Lanning as a sorry football coach. But, the proof is in the pudding. what we saw Friday was, for whatever reason, Oregon did not match up well. When you talk about the games within the game that decide a football game, defensive backs against receivers, linebackers against running, whatever it is, the matchup within the matchup, it was horrible in favor of Oregon, and they did not match up well at all against Indiana.
Well, I mean, the Big Ten has gotten considerably better over the last couple of years, and I mean, Oregon's schedule has gotten tougher than it was when they were playing a Pac-12 schedule. Now they're playing a Big Ten schedule. Then again, it is the Big Ten schedule, and you can miss a lot of the best teams. Like, you're not playing, elite level competition week in and week out. It's easy to look good when you're playing the Purdues and the Rutgers of the world. Not saying they played both of those teams this year. I'm just making a point here. When you're playing those teams, but then all of a sudden you get up against a team with a pulse. You get up against Ohio State, you get up against Michigan, you get up against Indiana, or not this season, but Penn State. All of a sudden you're shown to be lacking, and you may still win those football games. You may squeak out a win against those teams, and everybody says, "Oh, aren't you great because you were able to beat the mighty Buckeyes or the mighty Michigan Wolverines." But ultimately, you don't have it in every possible situation because you weren't tested week in and week out. What did you think about Fernando Mendoza playing deep into the fourth quarter in that game when they were already up 30 points or so? I love it. I love it. Like, it could have gone the opposite direction. It could have been bad. He could have been rolled up on, there could have been, the scary Oregon player who is trying to hurt Fernando Mendoza going into the national championship game. But Curt Cignetti doesn't play scared. And that's why I loved it the most, because it proves Curt Cignetti is fearless. He has his Heisman Trophy winning quarterback out there in the fourth quarter, still racking up points on this team because he wants him as sharp as he could possibly have him.
He's fearless, there's no doubt. But when I got home from calling that basketball game, it was late. When I turned the TV on, the first play that I saw, Diesel, you know what it was? The first play I saw was Mendoza in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, take a nasty hit. I don't love that. I don't love Fernando Mendoza taking a nasty hit late. I just don't. Like, I know you want to keep him sharp, but you don't win a national championship without Fernando Mendoza. So I understand keeping him sharp. I understand being fearless. But the first play that I saw that literally turned the TV on, it was late, midway through the fourth quarter. The very first play that I watched was him get clobbered. And they're up, whatever. They're up 3, 4, 5 scores. I don't love that.
But how often have we talked? It was this year and last year as well. We talked about Clemson not being ready once they got into postseason play.
Yeah.
Because Cade Klubnik was only playing half of football games.
No, I'm with you, but what if Fernando Mendoza gets a stinger right there? Like, shoulder down, stinger on the shoulder, you're done.
That's
Curt
Cignetti's style,
well,
man.
you're
He's
done.
fearless.
Then if that's the case, Cignetti should be fired.
So you say it's stupidity,
It's
not
stupidity.
fearlessness. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm going to go full Dewey. If you get your quarterback hurt late in the game, you have zero shot against Miami. You do. You're not winning a national championship with his little brother at quarterback or whoever the quarterback is.
Did you see how many times the camera panned to Curt Cignetti and he was connecting eyeballs with it?
He's weird.
Like, he knows. Somehow he has this sense of when he's like, we have that promo running about the butt buzzer. Why don't umpires have a butt buzzer? It feels as almost like he's got a little buzzer in his pocket. Somebody is buzzing that buzzer to say, "Hey, coach, there's a camera looking at you right now." Like, how does he know?
He does. It's weird. JB on the stream says, I think it says more about Indiana. They're just good in every phase. Cignetti looks like he might be the closest thing to Saban out of the Saban coaching tree. There's no doubt. Cignetti's incredible. RJ on the Joy Law Firm text line gets in. He says Indiana looked like a rolling ball of chainsaws against Oregon in the CFP semifinal. Mendoza is a surgeon out there at quarterback, and he is. He's we talked about it. There's nothing you can do to throw that guy off, Diesel. That's what's so scary about it.
I am picturing now a rolling ball of chainsaws, and that sounds metal as can be.
It does.
I love it.
You like that. 5 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, by the way, from Mendoza.
So good. So good in that game.
And that was the question. You and I talked about that Friday. What can you throw at him that makes him uncomfortable? There has been nothing. And that's why I know a lot of people are talking about him going to the Raiders, and I don't love him in that situation. But I do think when you talk about him in the NFL, Diesel, that's a huge upside because no college defensive coordinator has been able to figure out how to slow this guy down.
If we were playing that game just for funsies and we could magically put Fernando Mendoza, for example, on this Carolina Panthers roster, good God, they would be 2026's New England Patriots.
I would love for him to go to a good situation.
In the sense that Drake May has taken them from 13 losses last year to 13 wins this year. I mean, I think he could step into a roster like that and immediately have his team winning playoff games.
I just think he's smart, man.
Yeah.
Like you talk about his football IQ, the way that he commands the field. You know, like Cam Newton's on this big click or on this big game manager conversation. You've seen it, Diesel, where we critique quarterbacks for being game managers and not game changers. You cannot in any way, shape, or form classify Fernando Mendoza as just a game manager.
No.
That guy changes the game. He is so good. He's elite, and he's been elite all season. And I go back to that Penn State game. It was a random Saturday during the middle of college football season. A bad Penn State team, Diesel, you remember, had Indiana on the ropes. They were leading Indiana. And every pundit in college football was tweeting about how Penn State was going to upset Indiana right after firing James Franklin. Mendoza puts together that game-winning drive, and since then, they've been untouchable.
Texter says Cignetti may be better than Saban when the dust settles. That is
I don't know
huge
about that.
to say that. I could see Curt Cignetti staying at Indiana to do it because he would want the additional challenge of doing it at a place that is not a traditional power. And I think that would be amazing. Now, I sent out a meme over the weekend. It was a screenshot from the movie Rocky V. You ever see Rocky V? Where he gets in a street fight with Tommy Gunn, but he has to train Tommy Gunn. I sent out a screenshot and said, let's have Stallone representing Saban and Tommy Gunn representing Curt Cignetti. Saban's going to have to come out of retirement to beat him because otherwise people are going to be having this conversation for a while.
And I don't have a problem like crowning this guy as great because he is great, but let's not Texter. It's like this whole Scotty Scheffler, Tiger Woods thing. I love Scotty Scheffler. I think we all appreciate his game.
Yeah.
But Diesel, Cignetti, and Saban won 7 national championships. You know how many Cignetti's got right now? Goose egg. So let's let
playing for his first.
We're not even remotely close
that's
to
what
that.
We do, man.
I know.
The internet does this.
I know.
But that's why I like to distinguish a goat from a goot.
Yeah.
Greatest of all time, greatest of our time. Madcraft, of course, predictably making it about Miami, making it about him. He says, I remember when people on ESPN were saying Lanning was the better coach than Mario Cristobal. I don't recall Dan ever making a national championship. Cole, you said, here we go, making about Miami. And Madcraft says, well, I didn't say anything about Miami. You literally just said the coach's name. What are you talking about here, man?
Did you Madcraft, man.
Do you have ADHD right now? You take your meds.
I cannot understand it. I cannot understand Madcraft.
By the way,
brings up the coach. I didn't say anything about
that. This Indiana team is averaging 46.5 points per game this season. Miami has only scored 41 points 3 times, and only once was that against a Power 4 defense. Wow. The other one was the other 2 were Bethune-Cookman and USF. I don't think the Hoosiers are scared of you, Madcraft.
Without looking, Diesel, do you know already what the line is?
I'm gonna guess. God, it's in Miami.
It is
huge home field advantage there. I'm gonna say Indiana minus 5.5,
8.5.
Wow,
a lot of points, more than a touchdown, more than a touchdown. It's gonna be fun, man. 1 week from tonight, you ready? And by the way, not our fault, but we'll be off air on the day of the game. We'll be able to react to it the next day, but Martin Luther King Day is Monday, a week from today, right? That's a company holiday for Odyssey. We can't do anything about it, so we won't be on the air. Also, a little switcheroo, a little change, a little curveball, Diesel. during that last segment, Grayson Mann texted me that he would be in the air during his hit. So we have fired Grayson Mann. All the money we pay him for coming on, not acceptable. We'll still keep the conversation. Clemson, though, Chapel Fowler of the State will pinch hit for Grayson Mann today at 4:22, while Grayson Mann is on a flight back from New England. Went to the Patriots game last night. Big win. We'll talk about the NFL. What else happened over the weekend? Next. Carolina Panthers and how they were oh so close on Saturday, Diesel. But what else happened in the National Football League over the weekend? What a weekend it was. I think I put it on Twitter or X over the weekend. I don't know if I ever did. I meant to, but I don't know if I'm in the boat by myself on this one, Diesel, but it feels like this has been the best NFL season ever. Just like the powerhouse Blue Bloods that we all expect to be there, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Eagles, none of them are even in the playoffs right now. There's new teams out there. The games, for whatever reason, just feel like super competitive. It feels like every game comes down to the wire. You had the Rams-Panthers game on Saturday, which was phenomenal. And then Saturday night, there's no way the Bears-Packers can top that. Well, guess what? It does. The Packers had a 2-score lead 2 different times in that second half on Saturday night. It looked like the Bears were dead to rights. And what do, Diesel? Chicago scores 25 fourth-quarter points, mounts the comeback, 11 wins on the season, defeats Green Bay 31-27. I just thought that might have been the best NFL game I watched all year. I've said that like 19 times. But Chicago, Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, you got to tip your hat to those guys, Diesel. First-year head coach, too, man.
Yeah, it was an incredible comeback. And you're not wrong. The season has been great because the typical franchises that we're used to seeing there seem to all kind of be taking a step back for the new blood. We've seen elite level new quarterbacks come in, and you would think that Andy Reid and the folks in charge there in Kansas City could look at for example, the Golden State Warriors as a cautionary tale of what happens when you don't constantly try to reinvent yourself. You don't constantly try to reinvigorate with new talent. I get it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But in the NFL, that is a recipe for getting really old really fast. And you cannot sustain it with an old team in football the way that you can in basketball. I mean, the Warriors were old a long time ago, right? It's not just 2 or 3 years ago when they started to fall off that it was evident that they were getting old. People knew before that, but they were just still by far and away had more talent than anybody else. I love it. I feel like I've seen more blowouts in the NFL this year, more high scoring football. I'm used to the NFL, neither team scoring much more than about 27 or 28 points. But I feel like this year we've seen some really high scoring games. No?
Well, I love the close games, especially on wild card weekend, like 34-31, 31-27, Bills, Jags, Diesel, 27-24, Niners, Eagles, 23-19. Last night, the Chargers couldn't muster a touchdown, but it was still a close game until that last touchdown that New England scored to go up 16-3. Every game this weekend was a possession or two right at the end of the game. And the Bills, man, they scored 14 points in the fourth quarter. Jacksonville had them with 14 points as well, step for step. Trevor was pretty good. He wasn't great, but Josh Allen was really good when he needed to be, especially with his legs. And you and I talked about this game on Friday. We both picked Buffalo. I was pulling so hard on Sunday for Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars because he was amazing this year. They were really good. Like, Liam Cohen did a tremendous job, Diesel, but Josh Allen is that dude. And that's the reason you and I both picked him. So as much as we love Trevor, Josh Allen's hard to beat in the playoffs, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was questioning last week this whole narrative that Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL, not on any specific reasons, just like, why this guy? Why does he always get this kind of love? He hasn't won Super Bowls. Why does he keep getting all this love? And then, by God, he shows you. He shows you against the Jacksonville Jaguars that have been really, really good.
2 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Man. Like that's what separates Josh. Excuse me. That's what separates Josh Allen. And then you add on what happened yesterday afternoon. The Eagles pretty much looked like they were going to win the game until the best head coach, the best offensive mind, and Kyle Shanahan put together a 13-point fourth quarter, Diesel, a trick play, double reverse pass to McCaffrey to win the game, scored 13 points in the fourth quarter. The Niners come back and defeat the Eagles 23-19. It was kind of something with Philadelphia we all saw coming because there was so much turmoil in the locker room this year. But then again, on the other side, the job that Shanahan did with this group, who was so banged up, now they're a game away, 2 wins away from being right back in the Super Bowl. I think it says so much about Kyle Shanahan.
It also says, we're seeing a collegification. It's not a word, but I'm making it one of the NFL. You're seeing a lot more trick plays. You're seeing, new teams coming in and finding the success that they haven't in a while. Young quarterbacks making their way up to the top of the heap. It's a fun time to watch the NFL.
Fun,
it really, really is. It might be one of those times, Cole, that slowly starts to convert me into liking the NFL more than I like college football because, oh, man, college
football.
And
what a great weekend it was.
A dumpster fire.
And we've got another good game tonight.
Yes, we do.
Texans and the Steelers tonight. I mean, that could be really, really fun.
Cole, I don't expect that you or pretty much any of our other Tolos watched the Golden Globes last night. I didn't watch them either. But the Golden Globes are kind of turning into like the NBA of award shows. You watch the highlights the next day, not the actual games themselves. The host was on one. She was ripping celebrities all over the gala there. So I want you, Tolos, to call in right now at 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663, and rip a professional sports figure or any kind of sports figure. Just rip them. Roast them. What do you got? Make fun of them. No holds barred. Call in next, right here on the Fan Upstate.
here for Marty Supreme. What a dedicated performance you gave. It was incredible. This is interesting. Not a lot of people know this, but Timothée Chalamet is the first actor in history to have to put on muscle for a movie about ping pong. This is true. He gained over 60 ounces. It's insane.
Cole, I did not watch the Golden Globes last night, but I give the host, Nikki Glazer, a lot of credit. She has turned this event from a snooze fest that nobody watches into, hey, let's just have a hot girl up there in a beautiful dress rip on celebrities for 3 hours.
So I didn't watch either. Number one, I don't know why they do it on a Sunday when NFL wildcard weekend's happening. I think that's bad timing because NFL, they dominate.
Sports fans' wives, counter programming.
Maybe. Number two, here's what I'll tell you about the Golden Globes. I did not watch.
Yeah.
And last night at some point, I have an iPhone like you and most of our Tolos who are smart do, right? I got a random, not notification, but you know how sometimes like on the home screen, you'll get this like widget. I got a Golden Globes thing.
What?
Yeah. And it popped up on my phone last night and I was like, what is it? It was like, it became my background and it was like a widget. I couldn't click. It wasn't like
Did they push a Golden Globes background on your phone?
It was there for like an hour or two.
Oh.
And I was like, man, what is this popping up? I don't know what this is. And then I realized, Golden Globes. Still didn't watch.
The only reason I know why some events like this are happening is because Roku, even when you set your background, it'll just change it for you.
Oh, yeah, I have Roku too.
And it'll start advertising.
Was it on there?
Wicked. No, I don't think I saw that last night. They'll be advertising the new Wicked movie or whatever it may be. And then you got to go in and change it, which sucks. It's annoying as hell that they can push something down the line to change your background that you set in their app. It's ludicrous.
On your TV you're talking about, right?
On your TV, yeah. So
if it's Landman, that's okay. You can set it to Landman, but don't set it to Golden Globes. What are we doing here?
The only thing Roku hasn't figured out, Cole, is the pop-up to let you know when a new show is live. Like when a new show is available. Remember when you had a cable package and you could set a reminder to tell you when a new episode of whatever
you mean a new one.
is airing.
Yeah.
And it would pop up and say like,
yes,
hey, this game is starting. Instead, I still have to go on my phone, like for games when they're about to start. I got to go on my phone in the ESPN app, set an alert, and then it pops up on my phone. It doesn't do that on,
that's a good point.
On the
Never thought of that.
Roku app yet. But I mean, it was there's not a whole lot for you and me on that show to watch. So it was fun to see that you got a celebrity in there ripping all these other celebrities. No athletes were there, unfortunately. They were all outside parking the cars. So you didn't get like a repeat of the ESPYs, which were great. With who was it that hosted the ESPYs this year? I can see his face. If I hadn't tried to
the
think
comedian,
of it, yeah, exactly.
Right? I can't think of think of his name.
His face. Yeah, Notre Dame fan. He was the one who called Nick Saban Indiana Jones.
Shane Gillis.
Thank you very much.
Google help, man.
Nikki Glazer was all over that. But Tolos, if you've got one, send us a roast of a sports figure. It can be about anything at all. You can say that Carson Beck looks like Sid from Ice Age. You can rip anybody for anything, Cole. We're not going to spend more than like another 90 seconds on this at the most. Here was Nikki Glazer ripping on Kevin Hart, who she has a lot of beef with from multiple roasts on Comedy Central.
Ariana, I would listen to you sing the phone book. Grab the one Kevin Hart's sitting on tonight. I'm sorry, Kevin. I can't stop. It's a problem.
It's a long-standing beef. She likes to rip on Kevin Hart quite a bit. And the last one here for you, Cole.
There's so many A-listers. And by A-listers, I do mean people who are on A-list that has been heavily redacted.
Oof.
Jeez.
Calling them a bunch of perverts in the audience. That's wild stuff, man.
You were serious about no athletes being there, though?
I'm sure. There could have been one.
But it wasn't like...
it wasn't a sports event.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cole, I didn't get your opinion on this on Friday because it was late in the show, and I think you had already transitioned over to your Burns boys basketball duties.
Yeah.
This came down last week. This is a proposed monumental shift in Major League Baseball. Rob Manfred is he's pitching the idea to do away with the leagues that we know of, like American League, National League. You know how those two leagues are kind of spliced together? They're all over the place. You got AL teams and NL teams in the same city.
Sure.
Well, Rob Manfred wants to completely change that and do basically a clean East-West split. He wants to bring it in line with other major leagues, like the way the NBA has an Eastern Conference and Western Conference, as does the NHL. And they're talking about, very rapidly approaching expansion to 32 teams, going to 2 leagues, 4 divisions in each league, with 4 teams in each division.
Yeah. More similar to the NFL?
Correct.
Yeah.
More similar to the NFL. And they want to make it as geographically tight as they can. And then they go and complicate things by saying that if you've got two teams in the same city, as New York City does, as Chicago does, and as LA does, they won't let you put those 2 teams in the same division.
Okay.
For what reason? Don't know. But they won't let that happen. So sorry, Mets and Yankees. Sorry, Cubs and White Sox. Sorry, Angels and Dodgers. We can't just do the easy thing that makes sense for geography, conference realignment, college football. We're going to do the annoying thing and make this convoluted for no reason.
It is interesting from the geography standpoint, because you would imagine, and according to Manfred, like the reasons for the change, the potential change, number one, less travel for players, right? A model that could reduce the wear and tear. And when you say wear and tear, like, I kind of roll my eyes. I kind of use that lightly, because it's not like they're pushing a horse and buggy to the next city.
They're flying private on like lie flat beds.
Yeah, the Lobster, the Lobster was cold on Tuesday, that was our biggest problem. And the plane got delayed, 20 minutes because it was windy or whatever. I do want to know more on this.
Yeah.
How would that, if Rob Manfred were sitting across from me right now, I would ask him, Rob, how would that be better TV? How would that be better TV scheduling from the fan standpoint? Because you would think it would produce more regional content, right? With teams being local, make afternoon, evening games, Diesel, more consistent across U.S. times, kind of like you do with the NFL, the set times that the NFL has. I think that's appealing from a fan's point of view. The NFL, or the MLB, rather, we've talked about this multiple times. They've got enough issues when it comes to viewing anyways, with the blackouts and all that. But I think the game structure and all the TV viewing and the scheduling, I'm not opposed to it. A lot of things that Rob Manfred does, I think, is stupid. I know it's not a done deal yet. I know it's just floating ideas.
Sure.
I don't understand the city aspect of it.
Yeah.
How many cities I'm putting you on the spot here. How many cities, I'm going to do a quick search.
Teams?
Have 2 teams.
3.
3?
3. New York, LA, Chicago.
Those are the only 3. So 3 cities would really be in. I don't understand that, though. Why would those teams why not have them in the same division? What's his reasoning for that?
On the rundown, there is a map that would help. Maybe it's the thought of, in fairness, we don't want to save those 2 teams a ton more money than everybody else by limiting their amount of travel. But come on, that gives us the Subway Series.
And the rivalry games.
Yeah, it gives you a lot more rivalry games. And I don't think it's an issue that is so prevalent all over Major League Baseball. I mean, you could also look at it and say, prior to the A's making their move to Las Vegas, you'd have San Francisco and Oakland being like side by side. But I get it. Again, Oakland's going to lose their team. They're going to LA. But it's not as if LA and San Diego are that far apart. It's
Sure.
not as if all these teams in the Mid-Atlantic, looking at the Nationals, Orioles, Phillies, Pirates, are all that far from each other. They're all right there in a 1-state radius. Boston, New York, and New York. Those are all close together as well.
I guess the only good thing is, Diesel, even though I don't love that idea, I guess the good thing to that would be, now that you have a 162-game season, you're going to get a lot more games out of division than you used to, right? I believe you play 52 divisional games right now. Each team plays its 4 divisional rivals 13 times. So even though they wouldn't be in the same division, you're talking about the Subway Series, I would hope and pray you'd still get it to a good enough extent.
Yeah.
So I think the Yankees, Red Sox, I mean, would they play 13 times? I think that's good enough. Those are division games.
Correct.
Non-division games, there's 64 games in the MLB season that are non-divisional games. So against the other 10 teams in the same league, you're talking about like the Braves this past year, a mix of 6 to 7 games per opponent.
Two series, basically.
Yeah, you'd still get them. It just wouldn't be as prevalent as obviously the division games.
To achieve this, they're going to have to expand by 2 teams. And some of the common cities that are being tossed around right now for expansion are Charlotte, Raleigh, Nashville, Austin, Texas, Salt Lake City, and Portland. Portland, Oregon. Those are the 6 cities that are most commonly linked to expansion right now. Portland, like, come on, really? Portland? But Cole, here's presumably what the divisions could look like, specifically how it affects the Braves in the Eastern League South. I don't know how they'll probably keep American League and National League, just put one to the west, one to the east. But the Eastern League South division would probably look like Atlanta, Tampa, Miami, and Charlotte, Nashville. Whichever one of those cities gets that team.
Yeah.
Atlanta, Tampa, Miami, Charlotte, Nashville. I don't hate it.
Tampa.
I don't hate it.
I'm just thinking through it in my head. I guess the first thing I would say is I don't like change in that aspect of
baseball fans don't.
Right. The Braves have always played the Marlins. The Braves have always played the Mets, always played the Phillies, always played the Nats. So you say those again, those teams?
Atlanta, Tampa, Miami, and the expansion team of Charlotte or Nashville.
Okay. You get some similarities.
People have said Raleigh too, so I mean it could be Charlotte, Nashville, Raleigh, whichever one of those gets it.
Please don't give Raleigh another freaking pro team. They already have a hockey team. I mean, you better, if you're going to do it, I don't know that Charlotte would be better. I think Nashville might be
I think Nashville's probably going to be the one that would get it.
Would be the fit there.
Because it's growing faster.
So, yeah.
They've shown that they support their sports teams better than the city of Charlotte does. I mean, I know the Panthers just filled up the Bank of America Stadium for the first time in forever, but people don't show out for Hornets games. People
and they
don't show out
have
for Panthers games.
They have a football team. They have the Predators. Is that right?
They got the NBA. They got all 3 major sports already. 3 of the 4 major sports. They just don't have baseball. Charlotte has 2 of the 4. Raleigh has 1 of the 4.
So you'd have to add 2 teams.
You'd have to add 2.
8 divisions, 4 teams.
Yeah. Out west, you're looking at probably Salt Lake. If I had to put money on it, say it's probably going to be Salt Lake, because does Austin, Texas need a major league team?
I don't know. Would Salt Lake City support a major league baseball team?
They just got the NHL.
That's crazy.
They just got the NHL. They got NBA also.
And Texas already has the Rangers, the Astros. Yep. I don't know. That'd be weird, wouldn't it?
So
that'd be weird. I'll say I don't hate it. It does eliminate a lot of the odd team issues you have now. Scheduling these should be easier, like way easier. Right.
I think it'd be one of those things like automated balls and strikes, like having a runner on second in late innings, extra innings. It'd be one of those things, and like having that extra base off to the side so that they don't, clash with the first baseman. It'd be one of those changes that people would get used to real fast.
Yeah. I wonder what this would be. If we were to set a timeline on it, you have to have the expansion first, like the chicken and the egg, right? You have to have the expansion first before this could happen. 8 years or sooner, maybe, you think? 6 years until this could happen? Or, I just wonder if he could get it done. What would you guess? Like if he decided today, let's do it.
Well,
6 years from now?
Yeah, because you got to think, how long would it legitimately take to get a major league franchise on the field and playing?
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's organizations that are representing Charlotte's interest, Nashville's interest, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So they're not like starting from scratch. So they're already partway down the field. You're talking about probably at least 3 years from the day that the announcement is made to get a team on the field. So 2 full seasons, and then the third, bam, they're on the field. This is not like the NHL where you can have an expansion draft where you can pull players off of other rosters and get those teams really good really fast.
Yeah, and what's interesting about it is like the whole ALNL thing. I know a lot of people might be opposed to it. in a way, it almost kind of feels like it's already meh anyways, like,
That's what they're trying to combat,
yeah, you have the DH, which I wasn't a fan of, a universal designated hitter. I know you still technically have the AL and still technically have the NL, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't feel like it's two in the way, I guess. I don't hate it. I'm open to it. I would have to get used to having new division rivals and new, teams, to your point, in the division. It would be weird for the Braves to be playing,
Tampa.
other teams and Tampa and
Charlotte.
Well, I tell you
Nashville. I think it'd be awesome. Have you've seen photos? We've all seen photos of the Charlotte Knights Stadium with that backdrop of Charlotte behind it.
I've
It's
been
gorgeous.
up there a few times. It's nice.
Gorgeous. They could totally redo that area around that stadium to make it major league ready. I think it'd be fantastic.
I just wonder if we're going to make it about geography, what's making, and maybe what would get, like, I guess I'm thinking for the Southeast, the Charlotte area, the Carolinas, what would even ensure that we get one? They don't ship it up. You mentioned the Midwest, but what if the East Coast didn't even get one? I don't love Salt Lake City. I don't love Austin, but I don't know. I think it would be fair to give a city like Nashville Major League Baseball team. But then again, I could see Rob Manfred, the MLB, putting it somewhere in a big city. California needs another team, right?
Nashville's growing like crazy.
It is.
Nashville's growing really, really fast. That's why, to me, they look like the best option, the number one option, with Charlotte being close second.
And Vegas is getting the A's,
Yep.
right? So you've already got another team out that way. A new, I use air quotes, a new team. I don't know. I don't hate it.
If you look at the map, Oregon out west Oregon and Utah are the two big states that don't have a major league franchise, because you're certainly not going to put one in Montana, Idaho,
Sure.
Wyoming, New Mexico, maybe Oklahoma City, but I haven't heard it being mentioned as one of the top candidates.
What would be a good mascot name for Nashville if they did get it?
The Nashville.
They've already got the Predators. They've already got the
Nashville
Titans,
Nets.
right?
The Nashville Twang.
No, that's too twangy.
Oh, come on.
That's too twangy. That's too big buck country, right?
What about New Orleans?
What-
Who wants to play baseball in New Orleans in September?
But you know what?
Nobody.
Maybe it does, to your point. Nothing else has anything to do with music. Nashville's the music city, right? I don't know that they would be the fiddles or whatever.
The Fiddlers?
It might be something to do with music.
Pickers.
The Pickers.
The Nashville Pickers.
Oh, God. I don't like that. I don't like that
Think
at all.
about all the connotation.
I really don't like that. All right, we go to the phone lines. We talk Clemson with Chapel Fowler. It was supposed to be Grayson, man of TigerNet, as it is every Monday, but Grayson's in the air right now. You might see him if you look up in the sky. Texter gets in on the Joy Law Firm text line and says, I'm a Rays fan, and we already lose over half our stadium to the Red Sox and Yankees. Last thing we need is a team much closer playing us multiple times a year. Talk about the Braves.
I think that's a real reason to do it. If you're Rob Manfred, it allows visiting fans to go to more games.
Texter from the 431 says Nashville Spartans. Don't love that. Don't hate it. Don't love it. It'd be interesting though. Texter says Nashville Cloggers.
Come on.
I hate that.
If we don't make Dolly Parton the mascot of the new Nashville baseball team, we're messing up.
Double D's.
Yeah.
The Nashville Double D's, right? All right, Chapel Fowler. Let's talk Clemson with Chapel of the State newspaper next.
Upstate.
Well, let's talk Clemson on this Monday. Normally, we are joined by Grayson Mann of TigerNet.com, and always appreciate his time, but he is in the air right now. And as Chapel Fowler said, he's probably still drunk off of a big Patriots win last night. So we'll get to him next week. But Chapel Fowler of the State newspaper, you heard him during football season every other Thursday. Always a good time talking Clemson with Chapel Fowler. What is your immediate reaction, Chapel? Because I had a friend of mine call me this morning and ask me what my thoughts were on Clemson being very, very active. Almost a dozen, I believe. You probably have the count up to date, but very, very active in the portal, especially on the defensive side of things, and even a running back over the weekend with Chad Morris recognizing that need, the new offensive coordinator at Clemson. Now that you've had a day or two to kind of breathe on all of the portal news, what's your instant reaction to what Dabo and crew have done in the portal?
Good to be on with you guys. I think my instant reaction is this had to happen, and I'm pleasantly surprised that it did. I think if you're a fan, regardless of where some of these portal guys rank or how good they're going to be, you have to be excited about Clemson really playing the game that a lot of other people have been playing for a long time. And I would say, and I'm sure you guys would probably agree, and a lot of fans would agree, it was long overdue for them to start doing this. But now it's happening. And I think you look at the speed at which they've operated, how mostly efficient they've been in kind of identifying the guys they want, getting them on campus, getting them to commit. They're up to 10 scholarship transfers right now is the number. I think most of those guys have signed at that point, probably 8 of 10 or maybe 10 of 10 at this point. 10 guys in, obviously there's some big names in there. You just mentioned the running back, Chris Johnson. I think the Cal linebacker, Farelli, that's a pretty huge pickup. Some really talented defensive backs at the G5 level. These are all positions of need where Clemson really just could not stand pat. So I think more than anything else, it's overdue. But you still have to tip your hat, to them for finally doing it. I think is how I'm kind of looking at it from my point of view.
Chapel, we thought last year that Clemson was exactly the image of what Dabo Swinney wanted it to be. He had an entrenched offensive coordinator, an entrenched quarterback in Cade Klubnik, a lot of 3- and 4-year starters all over that field. We said that last year was a referendum. It was laying bare what Dabo Swinney's philosophy was capable of in this modern world of college football. Now, you can certainly look at the fact that a vast majority of the portal players who have come in being defense is Dabo saying, all right, Tom, you've been a head coach. I trust you to go do your thing. But now only a very limited number of offensive transfers have come in. Would you say that yet again, 2026 is going to lay Dabo's philosophy bare if they choose not to be aggressive on the offensive side of the ball, and ultimately if the offense sputters again?
I do. I think I totally agree with you. Last year kind of was a referendum on that, and I think all of the offseason love and kind of the thought from a lot of people, myself included, is, hey, Dabo's gotten some criticism for how he's constructed his roster, but this is a pretty good one. You've got all these returners, your retention's high, you add a few select portal guys. Let's see how it all plays out, and maybe he does come out on top and say, hey, see, I told you so. That obviously did not happen. The guys that they brought back weren't as good. They obviously needed more transfers. It wasn't just players. There was a million coaching issues and structural and overall issues that kind of the 2025 season kind of begged Clemson to take a harder look at. And I think if you go from preseason number 4 to finishing 7-6, if you don't take a long, hard look at just about everything, you're not doing it right. So I agree with you that Tom Allen seems to really have gotten free reign to kind of pursue the type of guys with the type of hunger and aggression and hard hitting, I love football mentality that he wants and thinks is probably the right way to do his defense. I think you're seeing it a little bit with offense. It's better to have 1 than 0 when it comes to portal additions. But that quarterback question is so key. And I know Larry Williams of Tiger Illustrated has reported, and Clemson's activity in the portal has indicated so far that they're not pursuing a transfer portal quarterback at this moment. Maybe that could change. There's still a few more days. But that's going to be pretty definitive, I think. All these transfers are great. But but no transfers at the most important position on the team is going to be a big question that could easily overshadow all of these really good additions that they have made.
Chappell, do you still feel like there are some gaping holes on the offensive line?
Gaping, I'm not sure, but spots where you could probably get guys in, yes. I don't think it's the worst position on the team that needed the most transfer reinforcements. I'd probably put safety and defensive back as a whole up there, and maybe defensive end too. But, I know Braden Jacobs is coming back, and that's a guy that Clemson fans rightfully should be really excited about. And there's kind of veteran returners. But that group and that run game last year just was not good enough. And I know that is kind of a premium position. And, maybe all these schools are looking at it salary cap wise, and they think, hey, offensive line, that's the spot where we need to improve, but we really need to improve on defense also. And maybe just with the way the numbers work out and the timing and this and that, maybe we have a better chance if we put our eggs in this basket. But I think they absolutely, I've been surprised that they haven't added anybody on the offensive line. I know they had the ECU guy in their sights for a while until he committed to South Carolina. But that's one absolutely where I think there's got to be at least one, quality, high-profile addition, if not a few more G5 guys, just to get some competition going. Because there's returning starters, but there were also returning starters last year, and we saw kind of how that went.
Chappell, could you look at the run? Could you argue that Dabo Swinney is looking at the run that Miami is on now, playing for the national championship coming up here in 7 days, and that's putting legitimate pressure on Dabo to make more moves? I mean, would you say that's part of it?
I think it's less Miami and just college football in general. I mean, Indiana is kind of a special, conglomeration of all these cool things happening at once and causing this team to now, be in conversations with 2019 LSU for one of the more dominant, 2018 Clemson for one of the more dominant teams in recent college football history. But like in this sport nowadays, the turnarounds happen quick. They happen on a 1-year basis. There really isn't an excuse to not saying every team is going to kill it on the transfer class every single year and improve drastically and have this historic turnaround like Indiana. That's not possible at every single school. But whether you're a mid-tier G5 or you're kind of in the middle of your conference and trying to take a step up, or you're kind of at the top of your conference and one of those teams like a Clemson that has done it before and has the track record. Like the portal has shown that you can turn around your roster at one specific spot, one position in one off season, and you can benefit from it immediately. Like there's no 2-3 year crockpot stuff nowadays. And I think fans, those are their expectations. Those are administrators' expectations. The field is so big, it's 12 now. It'll probably be 16. You really just can't stand pat. So again, I tip my hat to Clemson for getting active and bringing in transfers that it really sorely needed. But I think the last few years of not doing that caught up to them. And that's kind of why they got pushed into the portal so much this offseason specifically.
We're talking to Chappell Fowler of the State newspaper right here on the Fan Upstate. Chappell, my last football question for you on the offensive side of things. How much do you believe the return of Wesco and Moore had to do with their lack of offensive moves in the portal, especially at receiver?
I think it did a lot. We have not talked to Dabo Swinney in a press conference format about Chad Morris. That's going to come later this month. But one of the things that stood out to me kind of in Dabo's press release comments was saying that he thought their offensive personnel was elite. And, offensive line, whether or not he was including them in that statement, I don't know. But I'm thinking more about backs and receivers. And I totally agree with the strategy of, let's retain Wesco and Moore. As opposed to looking elsewhere, trying to add in a portal guy and get cute, and then suddenly the salaries don't match and you've got something going wrong. Those guys are both certified dudes. I think they have helped Clemson's offense so much, both since they've been here. They're both very good. They'll probably both be, day 1 or day 2 draft picks around this time next year in 2027. And I think they really, helped Clemson get back that wide receiver U moniker to some degree and really helped out Klubnik a lot. I mean, in Vizina's one start, TJ Moore made that ridiculous one-handed catch that was going to be an overthrow otherwise and turned into a 60-yard touchdown or whatever it was. So those guys are very much game changers, program changers, the people you need to retain. So, if Clemson goes into this year without adding a portal receiver, I think most people can stomach that just because of those two guys and get into lockdown, which is no given nowadays. Everybody's a 1-year free agent. So for them to do that, I know Chad Morris and his coming in kind of played a role in getting those two guys locked in. Those are two very big retention wins for Clemson, and they should celebrate that as such.
Chapel, have you heard anything from Chad Morris in the realm of which quarterback on the roster he likes? I mean, is he a big fan of Christopher Vizina's? Is he a fan of maybe somebody who's a little farther down on the depth chart? Has he tipped his hand at all as far as who might be QB1 next year?
I don't think so. I think, again, the probably the bigger question right now is whether or not they bring in a portal guy. And again, all indications are right now that that's not going to happen. So I think spring practice will be big for that. I think about who Chad has had at quarterback when he's been successful, and there is a true kind of dual threat nature to those guys. Obviously, that's probably more Denson than Vizina, but Denson is so raw. Vizina is the one that's a little bit more experienced. You'd imagine that, just going into spring practice right now, regardless of what Dabo or Chad thinks, like Vizina is probably getting your initial first team reps, just given the recruiting pedigree and kind of he's been groomed into that spot behind Cade for a few years now. I think it's been interesting that Dabo has mentioned Tate Reynolds, like specifically in that kind of competition and kind of putting him in that 3-person race, like they've been framing it. And, it's not just the Vizina and Denson battle. It's Vizina, Denson, and Reynolds. Dabo really made a point of that. I remember at signing day, his signing day press conference in December, talking about how, Tate Reynolds is even going to skip this freshman year of baseball where he's a pretty good player to make sure he can truly compete for this QB1 spot. So, I mean, I think if they stand pat as is, it's going to be Vizina in week 1, just with Denson's kind of limited development so far and the fact that he is a more raw prospect. But Denson does kind of seem to fit more into that Morris model. I think they should just go for a transfer. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I don't think it's going to happen. So one of those two guys, I guess, probably Vizina. But who knows what Chad is thinking. I'll be interested to ask him about that whenever we finally get him sat down in front of us.
Well, Chapel, after 7 straight wins, Clemson and Brad Brunell, oh, looky here, find themselves in the top 25. Justin Porter, amazing game, 26 points, 5 steals in the big win over Notre Dame on Saturday. Clemson dominated. They play Boston College tomorrow. 7 straight wins since those back-to-back losses to BYU and Alabama. In your mind, watching this team, covering this team, what switch flipped after those 2 losses?
I think they were just so close in both of those games that, moral victories, nobody wants to hear that. But that was a team that really early on, with a lot of new guys gelling together, figured out pretty quickly that, hey, we can hang with the best of them. I was at that BYU game in MSG, and that's some of the best basketball I've seen them play probably in that mid to late first half when they went up 22 on a really good BYU team with AJ Devanza. And then you kind of see that lead wither away. And that's so crushing. But, credit to them for rebounding from that and doing what they've done. I think it's just kind of the belief from the group. Like this is a really experienced group of guys. They are starting to play together more and more now. Like with every game, it seems like there's a little bit more chemistry. I think RJ Godfrey has just improved like massively since the last time he was at Clemson, is kind of a steadying force. And they really are a deeper group. And, sometimes that hurts you because you don't know exactly who you're going to play in crunch time. You have to fiddle with those lineups, but they seem to kind of, their top 5 seems to be separating to some degree. Porter, like you mentioned, is obviously in that group now. He's been huge for them these last few games, but I think it's impressive because for the longest time it was, you add a few select transfers to a roster of homegrown stars like a Tyson or Chase Hunter, PJ Hall, Ian Shefflin. But this year it's almost like a complete roster turnover, and they're still playing that signature tough defense. They're still competing in the ACC. I think they've won something like 22 of their last 24 ACC regular season games now, dating back to last year. So it's very much a competitive group. And I think just being as close as they were in those early heartbreakers probably is doing them well down the stretch here.
Chapel, Clemson made its debut in the top 25, sitting at number 22 right now. How does Brad in the past, kind of manage the excitement and the expectations now in the face of being ranked within this team in his tenure. You can check my math on this, but he's had his teams ranked for a total of 37 weeks. Most seasons, you get 2 or 3 weeks ranked, and then poof, you're back out again. So how has Brad Brownell in the past sort of managed this uncharted territory for his rosters?
Yeah, I think probably it helps a little bit, his past as a coach at like a Wilmington or Wright State, where it's such a big deal. If you go on a big winning streak, you get into the top 25, and then, one loss, if you're a team on that level, boots you right back out. I think kind of his mindset as a veteran coach is, hey, it matters how you're playing at the end of the year. And, if you're ranked in January, but you're not playing like a ranked team in March, that's obviously not going to serve you well. So I think they appreciate the acknowledgement, and I think it all kind of builds into this. He talks a lot about how good they've been over the last 7 or 8 years, and kind of they like to promote how their stats and their ACC wins and total wins kind of match up with the rest of the conference. And I think it is a good recruiting tool, for Clemson to be ranked, for Clemson to rack up wins at this level. But I think the focus for them just has to be consistency and playing well at the end of the year. Because, you think back to some of these kind of blah ACC tournament showings and kind of how that puts them in a shaky spot heading into March Madness. I think back 2 years ago when they just got blasted by Boston College up in DC. And then obviously they turned that around into an Elite Eight run. So I don't think a January ranking affects them too much, but it certainly is a nice little hat tip for what they've done so far. But again, you've got a team like Boston College tomorrow, and you lose that when you're back out of the rankings again, poof, like you said. So I think especially these January, February rankings, kind of the key to it, and what I think Brad and Clemson try to, get through to those guys is, that's really just the number.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Chappell, you're the best, man. As always, very much appreciate your time. Great stuff, and we will do it again soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Absolutely appreciate you as well. Chappell Fowler of the State Newspaper. Really good stuff there. If you missed it, you can go back and find it on the free Odyssey app. Audacy.
A lot to get to in the very next segment. Let's get out to break and get to it as quickly as we can. The Daily Wire's next.
Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
Since we're all country now, Cole, we should get a DJ to remix this song with a country track.
Oh, I like
Add
that.
a little zip, little twang to it. What do you
This
think?
was from year one. We were more
hip hop.
Yeah,
There you go. Let's get into it, Cole. These are our daily wires, the buzz around the sports world. The Carolina Panthers scored to take the lead on the Rams Saturday with 2:29 to play in the fourth quarter, and then allowed Matthew Stafford to go 6 of 7 and work his way down the field and throw the game-winning pass to Colby Parkinson with 38 seconds left to play. Brutal finish for the Carolina Panthers. You don't want to lose it like that.
No, Stafford's still good, man, and you got to still respect that guy. Like, he's old, but he's still got it.
The 49ers overcame a gnarly injury. George Kittle tears his Achilles. They go on to beat the Eagles, hampered going into the next round of the playoffs, Cole, but they have made it past round one.
They have, but losing that guy is not great, I must say.
The Bears made a monumental comeback from down 18 to beat the Packers in Chicago Saturday night, 31-27. The Packers are expected to work out a deal to keep Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. He has 1 year left on his contract, but Packers president Ed Policy said last June that he would prefer not to have a lame duck coach. So that's awkward.
You want to hear a wild stat, Diesel? The Packers the last 3 years have been the 7 seed, okay, with Matt LaFleur.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know when they expanded the playoffs a few years ago, they added the 7th seed? If it weren't for them expanding the playoffs just a few years ago, Matt LaFleur and Green Bay would have missed the postseason 3 years in a row.
Yowza. He is 76-40 in his tenure, which is not awful.
No, it's good. Just not the big moments.
Great.
Just not the big moments.
Yep. The 2025 season this year was supposed to be different for the Chargers, who made an improbable playoff run despite injuries to some of its best players. But it ended like it always has for this era of the franchise, with a dejected Justin Herbert taking responsibility for an uncharacteristically poor performance in a playoff loss, 16-3. I would say drubbing, but it's just not a great performance at all from the Chargers. They lost on Sunday night to the Patriots. Here's what Justin said, quote, "I didn't play well enough and I didn't make any plays. And when it mattered most, we didn't score any points."
Thanks, Justin. That's Captain Obvious speaking, right?
Tonight is our final game of this round of the playoffs. Texans, Steelers. Houston is favored by 3.
Let's go, man. I can't wait.
On Friday, the NCAA denied Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss another year of eligibility for the 2026 season. And now that ruling is headed to court because, of course, we sue everybody for everything in this country. It's being filed in Mississippi, according to his lawyer. The NCAA noted that Chambliss failed to provide sufficient medical documentation for a medical hardship waiver related to the 2022 season, in which Trinidad claims respiratory issues caused him to miss most of the season. His attorney, Tom Mars, told ESPN in a statement Sunday night, and he's teaming up with trial lawyer William Liston. They plan to file a suit against the NCAA in state court this week for a preliminary injunction that will aim to secure his eligibility for 2026.
Go get a job. Good grief.
Worth noting that Trinidad has already signed a preliminary agreement to return to Ole Miss worth around $6 million next year.
Okay.
So former 5-star recruit Dylan Raiola has committed to Oregon.
Wow. How about that?
Former Auburn quarterback Deuce Knight signed with Ole Miss. He was ranked number 2 dual threat quarterback in the 2025 class. And Sam Leavitt is expected now to sign with LSU.
That's interesting, isn't it? That's interesting.
Yeah. Notre Dame has denied that Marcus Freeman made physical contact with anyone after he was accused of battery in a police report filed January 3rd following an incident at his son's high school wrestling match. No charges are expected. According to the South Bend Tribune, which first reported the news, the alleged incident involved Freeman and New Prairie High School assistant wrestling coach Chris Flieger. Freeman and his family were at an event supporting his son, a senior who was heading to Cornell. Flieger filed a police report this past week accusing Freeman of battery.
Wow, how about that?
What did he do? Just bump him a little bit?
That's weird, man.
Come on. Here's a huge one, Cole. 5-time major champion Brooks Koepka is returning to the PGA Tour as part of a new returning member program. And now 3 other big-time golfers are eligible if they choose to leave Live Golf. They can
That's
come
huge,
back.
man. That's huge.
Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm, and Cam Smith could all return. And PGA Tour CEO Brian Rolap said this is a one-time defined window. This is not a precedent for future situations.
Interesting.
How about that? Furman beat VMI on Saturday, 69-48. They are playing really good basketball. They're now at 12-5, 3-1 in conference play. Wofford fell to Mercer by a score of 109-97. The Terriers are 11-6 on the season. Clemson now 13-3 after a big win over Notre Dame on the road. South Carolina 10-6 after a 75-70 loss to Georgia on Saturday. And Cole, who saw this one coming? Vanderbilt is off to its best start in school history, 16-0 in men's basketball after a win over now 12-4 LSU.
Pretty good. Not only can they play football now, they're rolling in multiple sports, right?
Scary.
Tolos, it's time to overreact. You overreact. I overreact. Diesel overreacts. We all overreact. Next. Simply put, Indiana is just unbeatable, period. There's nobody that can touch them. There's nobody that can beat them. And guess what? Miami certainly isn't going to do so. Is that an overreaction, Diesel? Is that an overreaction, Tolos, on this Overreaction Monday? We want to hear from you. It can be college, high school, pro. It doesn't matter what your overreaction is, even if it's not sports related. We want to hear from you. The phone lines are open, 844-326-3663. Indiana, Diesel, they're unbeatable. Yes or no, that is an overreaction.
I can guarantee you I know who that is on the phone lines as you open up talking about Indiana being unbeatable. I mean, they're going to be facing a different level of physicality against Miami than what they faced against Oregon. You would have thought this was the level of physicality they were going to be facing against Alabama. Now, Alabama had just an absolutely abysmal, atrocious run game, so that certainly made them a very, very one-dimensional team, and Indiana's defense was able to take advantage of that. Sure. I don't know. I mean, you got to think the Alabama defense was a physical, big bunch that hit hard. So Indiana will have faced a team that not as good, certainly not as good as Miami, but maybe has prepared them for this level of physicality just 2 weeks prior. Have you seen the memes, by the way, floating around about looking at side by side the heaviest player on Miami's offensive line versus the heaviest player? Look this up. It's on Twitter. You search just Markel Bell and Tyreek Tucker. Markel Bell is Miami's heaviest defensive lineman, Cole. He's 6'9", 345 pounds. He is a hoss, built like a Buick. He's going to be going up against Tyreek Tucker, Indiana's biggest defensive lineman, who's 6'302". Now, you can certainly make an image look like anything you want when you Photoshop it, but somehow that picture makes Tyreek Tucker, a dude that is huge in his own right, look tiny compared to Markel Bell.
That's interesting. He is a massive dude, by the way. And then again, I know it might ruffle feathers of the Miami fans, but I just, it might be an overreaction. It might not be. By the way, you think it is or is not an overreaction?
Unbeatable. Overreaction.
Okay.
Unbeatable is an overreaction.
All right. Well, that's a whole point. I want to hear what your overreaction, Diesel, is on this Monday. Tolos want to hear from you. 844-326-3663. What is yours before we get to a caller on the phone lines?
Mine is a pet peeve that got me going during the Indiana Oregon game. Okay. And it's I can't believe I have a negative thing to say about Sean McDonough, the play-by-play voice who was calling that game. Sean, these two teams are 15 games into their season. Could you stop referring to players by where they transferred from? Like, they have been on this team for an entire season. 15 games. That's a lifetime. They are not Michigan transfers anymore. They are not South Carolina transfers anymore. They are not Auburn transfers. They are not Wisconsin transfers. They are Hoosiers. They are Ducks. We got to stop with this. Where did they transfer from? That's part of the problem, right? We're stripping away what they are as a team together and referring to them as all the places they've been to in the past. It's lame. We got to stop doing it. It undermines the team. Sean McDonough, you're too good for that. Stop doing it.
I agree with you. I don't like it, but I will say, to be fair, it's not just Sean. Unfortunately, I've heard it on every college game I've watched this year. It sucks. It's the new, well, this guy, just made the tackle, the TCU transfer. I mean,
I get that it's show prep for them, right? They want to be able to add some color. Where did this guy come from? But to me, it doesn't matter once you get halfway into the season. You're a first-year Hoosier. You're a third-year Duck. You've been on this Indiana roster for 4 seasons. Talk to me about that. Like, celebrate the longevity. If we've all got a problem with what the portal is doing, then stop talking about the portal as if it's a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Talk about being on a team for more than one season as a badge of honor.
Yeah, like Christopher Vezina. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? By the way, Clemson fans are going to have to start getting used to that next season. Hey, this kid's from so-and-so. I mean, they've been dying. Yeah. They've been begging for that, right? But now they'll finally get to see and hear from Cotton Eye Joe every now and then. Let's go to the phone lines, 844-326-3663. Dan B. up first on this Overreaction Monday. What's your overreaction, Dan?
Hey, guys. So are you saying he's not former Cowboy Myles Garrett? Like, is that not how we're supposed to talk about the NFL players?
We're not talking about the NFL, Dan. We're talking about college.
No. I'm making your point. We don't call him former Cowboy Myles Garrett every time we talk about him.
That's fair.
I wish Myles Garrett was a Cowboy, by the way.
If you want to talk about where he was for like the first game of the season, the second game of the season, fine. But by the time they get into conference play, they are a member of the team that they're on.
Yeah, no, exactly. No. No, the big thing, I missed most of the show, last hour and a half as appointments, but the NASCAR news. Did you guys talk about it?
No. Let's go. You tell us.
So, yeah, new format for the championship. They're basically going back to the chase, where it was a 10-race chase to crown the championship. There won't be any eliminations during the chase. So what it is the whole season is going to matter. Every win is now worth 55 total points. It used to be 40. So basically, it's a plus 15 for winning a race. There's no win and you're in kind of thing.
Huh.
It'll be the top 16 drivers in points. There will be no playoff points anymore, like ones that you bank or anything like that. Once you get to the playoffs, you'll be seeded. Like the first seed will start off with 2,100 points. The next one down will be like 2,065, and so on and so forth. Each between 1 and 10, number one will start with the most points going into the 10 races.
So no more playoffs.
Right. The chase is the playoff. All 16 drivers can win. It's just a matter, can number 10 get enough points in 10 races to outlast number 1?
So let me ask you this. I'm just reading it for the first time. It broke about an hour ago. When you say 16 drivers in the chase, does that dwindle down like the playoffs did?
No.
Ooh, I like that.
Elimination.
This is awesome.
Thank God.
It's just simplifying back to an easier way of doing things.
Good.
That actually makes some sense. It's making the entire body of work matter instead of just getting lucky for 1 week, getting you into the playoff.
Yeah, I like it. Coincidence that old boy just got booted last week and we're getting some good news?
Dan, did you think it was funny when the announcement ceremony had who was it? Was it Mark Martin, Dale Jr., and somebody else on the front row? And then they had all the current drivers on the back row?
Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't get to see that video. I will watch it when I get home. But no, like this whole process has been in the works since way before the Phoenix race. It was Phoenix that just kind of solidified it for them.
You talk about with Denny, when the whole thing happened with Denny Hamlin?
Yeah, and it wasn't just Denny. Connor Zillich had the same thing. He was the dominant driver all year. He won like 10 or 11 races, and he came in second due to a late,
Right. But Larson didn't lead an entire lap, right? And then there was a late caution. Denny fell, and correct me if I'm wrong here, and Larson got the nod, didn't lead a single lap, got in the playoffs. Is that right?
Well, no, he won because he took 2 tires. Denny took 4.
He won the title, though, right?
Yeah, he won the title because he finished ahead of Denny in the one race.
In that one race, which is dumb. That's dumb.
Right.
Okay,
That's
good.
what everybody wanted to get rid of. So it's a combination of you got the old school fans. They want 36 race winners. Well, in some years, that winner was already championed the winner with 3 races to go. Like nobody could catch them. That had happened. So they wanted to do away with that. But yeah, this single race for the take it all thing. Yeah, I'm glad it's gone.
No doubt. This feels like the common sense playoff, right?
Well, it's a move to simplify instead of convoluting. I mean, that's been one of my biggest gripes with NASCAR for the last couple of years.
And I don't like I think I finally landed. I don't like winning one race, getting you in, because we talked about it last year. I don't want a situation where they go to Chicago and they're in a freaking street track, street course, Diesel,
Dodging manhole covers.
and a guy who wins that race is now in the playoffs. I didn't like that. So this is a good thing. I think this is a really good day for NASCAR.
I think so.
Wow.
Good call, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate that. And I'm still reading about it online. It just broke a couple of hours ago, but really, really interesting stuff. Appreciate that, Dan. And man, I think that'll be a lot of older fans didn't like this new playoff format.
RJ on the text line, 844-326-3663. Tolos, get us your overreactions there as well. Would love for you to call in, though. He says the Packers need to give Matt LaFleur his walking papers in the last 3 seasons. He is 7-14-1 in games decided by 4 points or less, and that includes the playoffs. He is terrible in close football.
That's a good stat. That is a good stat. I like that, RJ. Let's go back to the phone lines where Dewey may or may not have an overreaction on this Monday. What's up, Dewey?
Yes, first of all, the Carolina Panthers, they didn't lay an egg. They almost won that game. And I think next year they're going to go 17-0. Bryce Young's going to show everyone that he's the man, and he is actually going to grow probably and take steroids. And he needs to get fired and go back to college football because he sucks. But the rest of the team, I think they're ready. They're ready to make that leap. And in all seriousness, they're going to be back next year. They're going to win probably 15, 16, 18 games next year, and they're going to go far. As far as Indiana is concerned, the only reason why they're good is because of the portal and the NIL. In Miami, at least Miami.
Well, that's the whole reason to be good now, Dewey.
Well, it's cheating. At least Miami, even though they got Carson Beck and he sucks, Miami has a team that could probably upset them, but I'm not going to let them upset them because I would be mad crap 365 days saying ha, ha, ha. So I want to go Indiana 50, Miami nothing. And for Chris Justice, he needs to be fired immediately. I'm calling the station to have him petition because he keeps lying about this snow thing. It's not going to snow. Never. Oh.
Hey, Dewey, if you ever call the police on Chris Justice, could you just record that phone call and send the audio to us to see how that goes?
I thought about it.
Okay.
So I'm going to call his station manager, and then I'm going to get him fired, and then his brother fired too. Oh,
thanks, Dewey.
Thanks, Dewey. I am with Dewey on this whole snow thing. Like it is kind of getting out of hand. I think I'm with him. I know it sounds crazy for me to side with Dewey, but I'm telling you, like this every day, it's become an everyday occurrence, Diesel. I open Facebook and guess what? Bam, another post from whoever it is telling us, it was a thunder, a little bit of thunder last night. That means it's going to snow. What we've got to realize, this snow stuff in South Carolina has become the biggest clickbait to rise engagement and to continue to build engagement and brand on social media.
So you're calling Chris Justice the Upstate's Jim Cantori?
Well, not even that. Jim knows weather. Like,
does he though?
Weather has just become about like social media following.
It's true.
It's only about growing your page. It's only about engagement because these meteorologists know that in South Carolina, people will freak out, Diesel, for snow. They know that. And if they post, my wife burnt 2 cookies last night in the oven, that means it's going to snow 3 days later because after that last time she did that, it snowed. It's all about clicks. It's all about engagement. I don't know why we've gotten so dumb to where we can't just go to the 10-day radar and say, okay, high 60, 58, 46, 52, 42, 45. Any of that sound like below freezing to you? I know it doesn't have to be below freezing to snow.
How do you know that?
Because it doesn't have to. Oh, because I took a meteorology class.
Exactly.
Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah.
56, 57, 52. It's not going to stick. It's not going to accumulate. I mean, we've gotten so dumb just to believe these I'm with Dewey on this.
The Upstate needs a weatherman we can trust, Cole, and that man could be you.
I'm going to just create a weather platform called, here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at the highs every day, and we're going to look at the lows. If the high is above 38, it might flurry.
No. Here's what you need to do. You need to create a social media platform called HFS Weather. You know what HFS stands for? HFS Weather. And then just make the most ridiculous, impossible weather predictions for the upstate of South Carolina. It's going to snow. It's August. It's 85. Can you believe it?
It's unbelievable, man. It really is. I feel like you and I could have so much success. Maybe that's a good gag. What we'll do is we'll create our Facebook page, our group. We'll do a daily forecast, right? You and I will.
Mm-hmm.
And it never has to be right. It never does. It's all for clicks and all for engagements. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm with Dewey on that.
What a wild time to be alive. People are mad at TV weathermen in
great,
small
man.
towns in the Southeast.
It's so good
because they're lying to them for clicks.
Matt Kraft says Miami is literally built to be Indiana's kryptonite. They are running into a buzzsaw.
Yeah, but we had a texter earlier who said that Indiana was a rolling ball of chainsaws. So what's going to win? A rolling ball of chainsaws or one single buzzsaw?
Matt Kraft, I'm going to give you an opportunity, and I'm going to do it a week in advance right now. I'm going to give you an opportunity, Matt Kraft, and the rest of the Miami fans out there to have so much on me that you'll be able to live rent-free for 365 days and call me an idiot. But I'm going to go ahead right now, Diesel, on the 12th day of January at 5:17 p.m., and I'm going to go ahead and give Matt Kraft the ammunition that he wants. I'm sorry, but Miami has no chance against Indiana. They have no chance. They have no shot. I know that you guys have had a great season, and I was very, very impressed with you, especially in the playoffs. But you did lose to 2 unranked teams. Don't act like that didn't happen. You have no shot, and you can go back and find the recording, screen record it, whatever you want. Miami has no shot against Indiana. They just don't. Indiana's that much better.
Here's what's going to happen, Cole. If Indiana goes on to trounce Miami, we're going to have Madcraft beep, 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 backing up all these comments as if he said all along, this is a 50-50 ball game. Anybody could win this game. That's what he's going to do. He's going to call in and say, I never said that Miami was going to. Yes, you did. So
he just said Miami is literally built to be Indiana's kryptonite.
Yeah.
Like, in what world?
He'll find one screenshot of a time where he said that, like, this is going to be a pretty decent ball game. And then he'll say that was my take all along. That was my take all along. Problem with Madcraft right now is he is incapable of having a measured discussion about this. He cannot not say that Miami is going to blow him out.
You hear that? That's what you're talking about. He's going to be backing it up. He says, I just simply do not understand that stance. Not hating because literally everyone is saying that. Madcraft, I could be wrong. I've been wrong about many, many football games, and I'm going to be wrong about a lot more football games. But Diesel, I'm telling you, there's no chance. There's no chance. And I'll say it for 6 more. How many more days are we on air? Only 4 more days.
So who's going to win in the stands, Cole? Not fist fights in the stands. Because did you see that brawl in the upper deck of the Carolina Panthers game?
That was bad. The Rams fan was in the wrong.
Winning in the stands in the sense of who's going to have the vast majority of fans at this game. Because if you looked at that Oregon-Indiana game in Atlanta, it was like 90% Indiana.
It was
fans.
red. And
I know what Madcraft is going to say, well, it's a home game for us. We're going to buy up all the tickets. I don't know, man. These tickets are going for like $5,000-$10,000 a pop.
Are you serious?
Right out of the gate. Yeah, I'm going to look at the latest.
Crap.
I saw some memes over the weekend.
I'm going to look on Game Time.
Yeah,
Game Time is my game.
Look on that to see what prices are.
By the way,
I saw tickets astronomically high.
It is in Miami. I do think Miami will obviously have a lot of fans.
Sure.
But did you see? I mean, you just brought it up. The way Indiana traveled to Atlanta.
It was crazy.
It was
who would have thought a fan base like that?
So here we go. On Game Time app, this is not an endorsement for them. It could be, though, if they're listening. Oh, my God. These are like Super Bowl prices.
Yeah.
Upper deck. Cheapest ticket. You ready? I'm going to select one ticket. That way it gives me the cheapest price, okay? Lowest to highest. Right now, the cheapest get-in price on Game Time, $3,431. Now, that is before ticket fees, which Kid Rock, have you seen Kid Rock's video about the what he's doing to try to get rid of those the gouging?
Not recently. I know a while back he tried to say nothing in my venue is going to be more than $20.
Well, so here's what's happening, and this is a side. We're going down a different trail here, but I think Kid Rock's on one of his last hurrahs. He's announcing Friday a tour date, right? He's going on tour, and he's selling the tickets without the third parties involved. I don't know how he's doing it, but you can look it up because, for example, the reason I bring that up, here we go, $3,431 for a ticket to the national championship game with the fees. Let's see here. $240 in fees. That's high.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
Why?
$240, that's just dumb. You know what I mean? So, and that's just, it's just not right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was wrong on that. I clicked the wrong button. $478 in fees is what that is.
Oh, my God.
So the ticket price, Diesel, right now, the cheapest get in, that includes the fee. So the cheapest get in, the ticket by itself is $2,953, $2,953. You add the $478 in ticket fees, and you're at the $3,431.
I'm on Vivid Seats right now. I found one ticket, the most expensive ticket. This looks like it's club level 50-yard line. $10,860. $10,000. Now, if you wanted to sit out in the stands, Cole, I'm seeing tickets for $6,800, $5,200 out in the stands with the plebs, Upper deck tickets are going for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000.
That's unbelievable,
Absurd.
man. This is getting out of hand, is what it is. I mean, you're getting up near Super Bowl price tickets. $3,000.
But how is this not price gouging? How is it not? I thought they just passed legislation the last couple years.
You talking about the fees?
Yeah, no, just the ticket price.
Oh,
because there's no way that's face value for the ticket.
That's unbelievable. $3,400 cheapest to get in. One last phone call on Overreaction Monday. We go to Summerville, South Carolina. Tom in Summerville wants to overreact. What's up, Tom?
Hey, guys. I had a good weekend because I got to watch a lot of football, made some money back on some investments, and, the Carolina Panthers lost, and that's always a good weekend when the Carolina Panthers lose.
Hey, you hater.
Especially to lose the way they did. That was a fantastic football game. It was probably one of my favorite football games of the weekend, but my goodness, all you got to do is get one stop, and you cannot do it. Guys, I was sitting on my couch, the one that got me sick, moving, and I was throwing the remote up in the air. I was like a little kid in a candy store. I was so happy. Just watching the pain and agony the Carolina Panthers had was the best thing ever.
Tom, number one, can you keep your car door closed for the duration of this call? Number two,
seatbelt.
Number two, Tom, why are you such a Panthers hater?
I've just always been a Panthers hater. Growing up around all these Panthers fans, it's always this, that, the other. This is the year. This is the year. And, when they lose, it's just fun to watch. I've never been a fan of Carolina Panthers, and David Tepper makes it that much easier to hate the Carolina Panthers. So,
well,
it's fair.
He's at least he's taking a step back. Look what happens when a bad owner takes a step back.
Yeah, I guess. He's just a moron.
I'd like him to take a step up and fire the defensive coordinator and hire an offensive coordinator that will tell Dave Canales, no, we're not going for it on 4th and 3 at our own 40-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a losing record, though, and you still make the playoffs, that you got to tip your cap. That was pretty cool to see.
It was. Hey, Tom, real quick. 1 week from today, national championship. What is your 1 week out prediction? Matt Kraft's already upset because I said Miami doesn't have a chance. What does Tom in Summerville say?
Well, I gave my props to Matt Cat last week, and what Miami's done is awesome. but Miami fans don't see it yet because they're so happy with where they are. This is a different team that they are playing this week. And, it might be close for a half, but eventually Indiana's going to Indiana, and they're going to pull away. I don't think it's going to be ugly like the Oregon game was, but I do think Indiana's going to win by 10 to 14 points.
There you go.
Appreciate you. And what is your NFL fandom? Because Jarrett Tripp asking on the text line says you sound like a Cowboys fan.
I am not a Cowgirls fan. I am an Indianapolis Colts fan. And, the first 8 games of the year was fun. And then the last 9 games of the year sucked. Yeah. So next year will be better.
Man, the Tolos are coming at you on the text line right now. Pretty bad. John Dog says, Tom sounds like a true South Carolina fan. This is our year. Texter from the 344 says, I've literally never heard a Panthers fan talk like, you're getting got right now.
I'm not a Panthers fan. And what's crazy is the Colts won more games than the Carolina Panthers and had the same amount of playoff wins this year, and we didn't even make the playoffs. So, have fun winning 7 games and missing the playoffs or making the playoffs. I'm sorry, your division sucks, and you'll never be as good as the Indianapolis Colts, Panthers fans.
God. Tom, you're the best.
Appreciate it, Tom.
Go Gamecocks. Hey, Braves baseball's back soon, guys. We got to be excited.
Hey, Tom, where do you want the expansion team? Do you want it in Charlotte? Do you want it in Nashville?
Or Somerville?
Yeah. They're going to 32. It's happening.
I can't stand Nashville. I think Nashville's the most overrated place in America. And to be honest with you, a baseball team in Charlotte would be a lot of fun. It would be a lot of fun.
All right.
Thanks, Tom. Good stuff. Good stuff on a long overreaction Monday.
Hey, love it. Cole, when we come back, we have touched on this briefly. What is the absolute latest going on with the Trinidad Chambliss situation, and what kind of major impacts could it have on the future of college football? We'll get into it next. Cole, I am more mad at Damon Williams Jr. now than I would have been if this story with Washington was still playing out. Why do I say that? Because we were like that close to being in a situation where somebody could put a rule in place to prevent more insanity from happening in the future. But nope, he tucks tail and he goes back to Washington, and really nobody's going to learn a lesson from that situation at all. Case in point, what's going on right now in the state of Mississippi, where Trinidad Chambliss, who is like 40 at this point, was denied a waiver for another year of eligibility to come back to Ole Miss for the 2026 season. He claimed a medical hardship waiver back in 2022 when he was still at Division II Ferris State, stating that he had some respiratory issues and that kept him out for a majority of the season, and therefore that season should not count, and he should get one more year of eligibility. And now the state of his lawyers are filing suit in the state of Mississippi to say, no, you cannot deny him that waiver because we're going to take you to court.
You know what? I just shake my head. I roll my eyes. Anytime you lead a segment with this quarterback or this player was denied their 6th year of eligibility, like that's when we know we've reached a breaking point, Diesel. I don't care if you had COVID. I don't care if you had a respiratory. I know that sounds harsh.
Your girlfriend broke up with you.
I don't care. That you should not be in college for 6 years unless you are just like struggling to make A's and B's and C's. Okay, right? But I went for 5.
I went for 5.
Yeah, I did. I tell people I redshirted, right? What sport? Academics.
Just tell them you switched majors 3 times.
Right. Yeah. But this whole 6th year thing, we have got to get past this. I'm sorry, but Trinidad, you were great. I love you. Yep. Does this kind of make you feel like Trinidad and company don't really feel great about his NFL career?
No, they don't feel great about his NFL career. But to that point, Cole, a lot of people go to school for 10 years, but they're called doctors
and lawyers and such, right?
So Trinidad,
come on.
Where this ultimately leads to, Cole, and this is sort of jumping the shark going to the end of the story first. Trinidad Chambliss's NFL draft grade is not good. They are looking at him as a 4th, 5th, 6th round kind of guy. They're looking at him as a day 3 player prospect because he's only played 1 year at this level. He doesn't have a lot of tape on him. Yeah. And so the draft grade is not good. So if you were in a situation, Cole, why not let your lawyers take a Hail Mary and try to get you another year of eligibility when it could mean making a lot more money this year, still improving your draft status, and then making more money in the future because he signed a $6 million NIL deal to come back to Ole Miss if he was granted that extra year of eligibility. They took that away from him, so now he's not going to be able to get it. But if obviously you know how a lot of rookie contracts work in the NFL. If you're a top 5 pick, you could be making $40 or $50 million over your first 4 years. If you're a mid-first round guy, you're probably like a $25 to $35 million 4-year contract kind of player. And if you're in the first round, late in the first round, you're going to be maxing out around $20 million, so $5 million a year. But he's not anywhere close to being a first-round draft pick. So
he's not. He was 8th in Heisman running, by the way.
It seems as if he said, "Yeah, why not? See if it works. File this lawsuit. See if you can get me back into college for another year. I'd like to go make $6 million just to improve my draft stock."
Diesel, to get a 6th year of eligibility under current NCAA rules, you generally must show A, you miss significant playing time due to an injury or incapacitating medical condition, and B, you provide medical records supporting that claim. Now, I don't know what kind of medical records count. You mentioned the preliminary injunction that could allow him to play in 2026 despite the NCAA denial. You better, you know how like when you call out for work or called past tense because we don't do that anymore, right? When you called out sick, you always told your boss like you even stood beside the microwave at home with the phone on and hit the little beep, beep. Yeah, you had made it sound way. I mean, hey, boss, I'm in the ER when it's really the microwave going off. You know, you've had all kind of chest issues. They better get that report and lie like you know. And I know that sounds, hey, don't lie. But if you want to have a chance, because this does seem like a far reach, doesn't it kind of?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's a slim chance, Diesel, but they better make it seem like, boy, those respiratory problems were no joke.
And here's the problem, Cole. Just as we're seeing transfer portal entries skyrocket year over year, now we're seeing extension requests skyrocket over the years. This is the newest thing, right? I mean, used to be you needed the waiver so you could transfer a second time. This was pre-transfer portal being what it is today. Now I need a waiver for extra years of eligibility because I couldn't make money when I was playing in JUCO. They didn't let you make money in JUCO. So now I need money to I need an extra year so that I can make money here. Well, so far this academic year, the NCAA has received 784 clock extension requests. 438 of those being in football. So the numbers are going up. This is the most they've ever had in a single year.
What'd you call it? Clock extension?
Clock extensions.
Wouldn't you love for your job title to be clock extension evaluator for NCAA?
Here's what this says. This is a statement from the NCAA. Quote, "This decision aligns with consistent application of NCAA rules." Well, there's the problem, NCAA, believing that your rules are still applicable to anybody.
Rules?
Quote,
What
so
rules?
far this academic year, the NCAA has received 784 clock extension requests. Of those, 25 cases cited an incapacitating injury, 9 in football. The NCAA approved 15 of those, 6 in football, and all 15 provided medical documentation from the time of the injury. Conversely, all 10 that were denied, 3 in football, did not provide the required medical documentation. So it sounds like, and I'm reading between the lines here, sounds like Trinidad said, oh yeah, remember in 2022 when I didn't play much, I had the sniffles, I was cold, I couldn't breathe, I had asthma. And then the NCAA is like, well, yeah, but you didn't put in any kind of documentation at the time. You don't really have much. You don't have much documentation now. He goes, I don't need any documentation. I'll see you in court.
Yeah, didn't even have a doctor's note. I mean, what does this get? Hey, he better get ChatGPT to write the best report. I mean, he better doctor that thing up, man, the best he can.
I hope the NCAA wins this thing because this.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how many more rules they have left.
Yeah.
You know, when they said they denied his request, I'm like, how do they even have the power to deny these requests anymore?
I hope they do. Diesel, how legitimate of a contender is now the 22nd ranked basketball team in college basketball? We'll talk about it next.
Upstate.
Well, after a big weekend and a big win over Notre Dame, Clemson finds themselves, Diesel, in the top 25. Where is Clemson not in the top 25, but in terms of being a legitimate contender? That's the question. 844-326-3663. This team is really balanced right now. Defensively, Diesel, they're playing really well. A big win, 76-61 over Notre Dame, put them at 14-3, riding a 7-game win streak. They're undefeated in ACC play, which puts them at number 2 in the ACC. RJ Godfrey's been terrific. Justin Porter on Saturday was just awesome. Dylan Hunter, Carter Wally, all of them have been good in this 7-game stretch. But good doesn't matter in January. It all matters in March. In your mind, where is this Clemson team now in terms of being a ACC contender and a tournament team that can make a run?
I think they are probably the 3rd best team in the ACC. I don't think they're that far behind. Let me find the ACC standings. I would imagine Duke and North Carolina still sitting there at the top of that list. I haven't checked them in a while. Let's see. Duke is currently sitting at 15-1. Clemson sitting at 14-3. Miami 14-2. So there's a lot of really good teams in that conference this year.
Clemson is number 2 in the ACC as of right now.
Correct. If you go by conference win percentage.
Yep.
If you go by, let's see, overall win percentage, Clemson is the 5th best team.
Well, that doesn't matter.
ACC. Again, overall. Okay.
Yeah. Conference record's the only thing.
That's what matters. Right. I mean, are they a contender? Are they as good as Duke, North Carolina, or Virginia? I think they're probably on par with Virginia. I think they're probably on par with Miami. Could they overtake North Carolina and Duke?
And it's a log
tournament
jam
scenario.
Yeah, it's a log jam right now too, because so early, like you said. You've got how many teams? 1, 2, 3, 4 teams, Diesel, that are 1-loss teams. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that are 2-loss teams. So when I ask you that question, well, what's the gap between a SMU, who's 1-2, and a Clemson? How important was that game, by the way?
Sure. Clemson's
sitting at number 2 in the ACC. SMU, Diesel, way down. And right now they're not even in top. They're number 11. And it's a logjam.
And that North Carolina team that's sitting above them lost by 14 on the road at SMU.
Yeah.
So Clemson's got to do it a little bit more on the road for me to be really convinced of what this team is capable of being. Looking at their schedule, let me get back to their schedule here.
Boston College tomorrow.
Yep.
Which winnable game, right?
Yep.
See, somehow, some way, start 5-0 and ACC play would be huge. I mean, the coaches have him at number 21 in the country. AP has him at number 22.
Yeah.
SMU win was big. I just think when you look at what they're doing overall, I mean, transfer portal Brad Brunell, I mean, he's hit. I mean, he's hit. And he's hit on some guys. They're balanced. Their defense is a strength. And Diesel, in the ACC, I think getting off to a strong start's important because it's a tough conference. Ask SMU. You get down in conference play, how tough will it be to come back? I think that they're in prime position if they can continue, like you said, to win a few of these on the road, important conference games. Boston College tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, 7:30 tip, something like that. I think it's a home game.
It is
for Clemson. Okay.
The following game against Miami is a home game. The following game after that is against NC State is a home game.
Wow, 3 in a row at home, right?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Like the back half of the season, they go on the road
February
at Stanford and Cal.
Yeah.
On the road at Duke, on the road at Wake, on the road at North
That's
Carolina.
Where it gets tough.
It's brutal over that last 6 or 7 games.
That's where we'll know where this team stands, I think, because you're right. You go out west, couple of games, and then Duke. I mean, it's going to be tough, but Brad Brownell has shown to be the portal king. Right
Can we get Brad Brownell though? Brad, if you're listening to the show, and I know you are, I know you're a big fan. Call in a free throw shooting specialist and help this team get better because that will lose them games against quality competition down the road.
I thought you were going to say Brad's been in Tom Allen's office telling him how to use the portal and Dabo's office. I thought that's what you were going to say there.
I wish. You would think looking across the aisle and seeing Brad have all the success with portal guys.
Yeah. There you
When
go.
we come back, Cole, let's hear from the mouths themselves, the voices, the players, the coaches. Our audio blitz coming up next.
Upstate.
Oh, we've got so much audio to get to here on this Monday edition of Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Want to remind you, though, if you've missed anything on the first 3 hours of the show, you can go back and catch it anytime you want on the free Odyssey app. Just search for Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. You can check out hour-by-hour podcasts. You can even use that rewind function to jump right back into a conversation that we were having earlier in the show. It's a good thing to have.
It is.
The Audacity app, as Tom in Somerville calls it.
And it's labeled, so you can literally see the names of the chapters. So it's easy.
Yeah, you can jump right back to where you want to be. Cole, let's get to some non-NFL football audio first, because this is absolutely hilarious. What was it, last year or was it the year before that Texas women's basketball coach Vic Schaefer was complaining about the environment for the SEC women's basketball tournament at Bonscore Wellness Arena?
It was last year.
He wasn't complaining that it was an inappropriate venue. He wasn't complaining that nobody showed up. He was complaining that a venue 2 hours away from a school that is in the tournament every year and is usually a favorite to win the tournament, that they had an advantage because they were basically playing home games.
Yeah, and Vic just got beat by Dawn. You know, that's kind of what happens. You're right. It was last March, whenever the SEC tournament is. He's a whiner.
Yeah, well, he's whining again, Cole. He's whining because apparently some meanie at the SEC scheduling office really put his team in a bad spot. Here is Vic.
Just your thoughts on the league, just top to bottom, and how you navigate this thing game for game when there's so many teams ranked in the top 15, top 10.
Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks ago, this team that we just played was number 5 in the country, and it's a bear, and they obviously have a vendetta against Texas because not only have we started in the league, and I get to play South Carolina twice last year. This year I get LSU twice. But I have to go of 16 games. There's 16 games this year. And I have to play South Carolina on the road this year as well as LSU. I get them back-to-back in the same week. And make that make sense. So the league is hard enough as it is. But then to bless me and my group with that, like it really has a stench to it. And the common denominator is LSU and South Carolina both played Georgia before they played me. And South Carolina was at home today. So, I'm disappointed. I said that yesterday. I said it to TV. I'm really disappointed in the league for putting our kids in that position. But we play whoever's in front of us.
Yeah, sounds like
your question is, you're right. It's a bear. I mean, it's just one monster after another.
I'm glad he realized at the tail end of that clip, by the way, a minute in, that, it's not all about me. It's about the players, because for the first half of that, it was me, I. What are they doing to me? It's not fair that I have to deal with this. Good God, Vic.
I'll tell you what. I mean, they do it every week in football. They play. I mean, Shane Beamer this year, Vic, did you see the 5-game gauntlet that Shane Beamer had to play in football? Like, that guy, he's just a whiner.
Pansy.
He's a pansy. I mean, he's a nice guy. I've talked to him a couple of times, but he's a whiner, and he's always making excuses and crying. And I mean, it's the SEC, man. Like, if you don't want to go, Shane Beamer always says it. This is where we want to be. Like, I want to have to play. If you don't want to go coach in, the Big 10.
Big 12's right there.
Big 12.
You could stay in your own state and coach a Big 12 team. You can go
Texas Tech,
TCU, Baylor, wherever you want to go.
If you don't want to be there, I mean, go to an E. This is ridiculous.
Hey, people warned you. SEC, they warned you.
It's tough.
That Texas was going to be a bad actor. They were going to be, a bad member of this conference. And remember how Texas used to try to bend the Big 12 over a barrel about everything? We get to have our own network. We get to do things our way. We're going to throw penalty flags on opposing teams for doing the horns down. We're going to get our way all the time. And here he is doing the same thing in the SEC. The problem is nobody in the SEC cares, Vic. Nobody cares.
I hope they lose both of them. I mean, I hope they lose. I hope Kim gets them, and I hope Dawn gets them.
Cole, here is I don't know how somebody let this person in to the post-game interview room, but I love it. This is a fantastic clip of audio. If you haven't heard it yet, a reporter gets into the Jacksonville Jaguars post-game press conference and tells Liam Cohen that everything's going to be okay.
I want to tell you congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank
You
you.
hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank
You
you.
did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you
it.
just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you,
You
ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season,
I
okay?
appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's why you don't let fans become media members.
So you have a problem with that?
It's such an unprofessional interaction, but I love it. I mean, I want that to be my ringtone. I want this lady telling me every day that I'm special, that I'm doing great things, that the future is bright for me. I want this person in my life.
See, I love it.
Madcraft won't text in every day and tell me this stuff.
I don't have a problem with it. I think in a world we live in where there's so much negativity, where there's so many just terrible comments about this person and that person and these rumors and that, I love it. I know she's a reporter. I know it's her job, but you know what? I guarantee you if she had to do it over again, even if her job was on the line, I don't know why it would be. I don't see a problem with it. I don't think she would go about it a different way. Diesel, I think if she had to do it over, I think she would do the same thing. And it says a lot about her, in my opinion.
That's what the phone call with his mother should be like after the game, not with a professional reporter after
But
the
there's
game.
nothing wrong with being kind.
No, it's not. There's a difference between being kind and saying, it's going to be okay, darling. We got you. You're going to be fine. You great.
I just think in the world we live in, we need more of it, man.
That's fair.
We need more of it.
All right. Here's what it sounded like on the field when the Rams took the heart of the Carolina Panthers. This was the final play of the game. This was Bryce Young on 4th and 10.
Last chance. Young. It's dropped, and it's over. Jimmy Horn drops it, and the Rams survive.
Boo. Boo. Jimmy Horn, catch the ball.
Yeah, that was tough. Obviously tough to listen to. And you know, I mean, you obviously Diesel blamed the last play or the last player in those kind of situations. But Carolina, I said it in the first segment, I thought they missed opportunities in the first quarter too.
Yeah. I mean, they had opportunities to win the game. They had an interception on the goal line. Puka Nacua punches the ball out. And ultimately, the rest is history. Here was Matt Stafford on his game-winning drive.
Pretty calm, pretty steady. Just felt like I was seeing the coverages really well. Guys up front did a hell of a job keeping me clean on that last drive too, giving me time to click through some progressions. And, I feel like I said, I've been in that spot a lot in my life. And so bring a smile to my face because I like being there and would love to be up, 14 and taking a knee on it with, 4 minutes left. But, shoot, when's the win?
How do you play 7 yards off ball and just let him walk down the field? I don't get it. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler and an NFL champion.
Well, he's been there, like you said. You can't.
It's absurd.
You can't let that guy be comfortable. And he was. He said it right there. He had good protection. He was able to go through some progressions. It's unfortunate, but you know what? You played a really good quarterback. You played a good team. Puka Nacua had over 100 yards receiving. Sometimes you just have to tip your cap.
Here's what it sounded like when the Carolina Panthers took the lead in the fourth quarter, 2:43 to go in the game. They took the lead 31-27 on this Bryce Young touchdown pass.
This Canales is. Blitz comes. Young, corner of the end zone. Coker, a dime, a touchdown, a Panther lead.
And at this stage, Cole, I got D texting me. I got Diddy texting me. We're all excited. We're hugging virtually. We're like, they got this.
Oh,
and
then it was, I'll tell you what, it was a good throw, too.
Yeah,
it was a really good throw. I thought at that point, I'll be honest with you, I thought they had it. I thought it was a wrap. I was pulling for them like I told you.
Complimentary football, though. We talk about it all the time. You can't be good offensively but bad defensively. And vice versa. You're not going to win many games.
Sucks, though, man.
Everybody's good at this stage of the season. Bryce Young here on what it feels like to lose this game.
Yeah, it was fun to be a part of us just coming into our own. Obviously we had some ups and downs, and I'm so proud of the way that everyone responded to adversity, whatever it may be. The way that we fought, the way that we always. Stuck together, the way that we were always on to the next. Again, super special locker room. It's tough.
Far too positive, in my opinion.
Yeah, and shout out, great audio quality, you know? I mean, what are these NFL teams? Like, we got to get better audio
That's
quality.
our guy, though. That's David Newton.
Sorry.
David,
Never mind.
audio.
Sorry, David.
Here's David. Here is head coach Dave Canales on his emotions after the loss.
You know, an interception. We didn't execute on 4th down. We were 0 for 3, which is, you know, we've had some success there. You know, got to give credit to the Rams first and foremost. You know, making the plays when they had to, and they got the ball back with time on the clock and the ability to drive the field right there, and they got it done and made an amazing play for a touchdown right there at the end. So my hats off to Coach McVay, to the Rams for battling. And again, you know, this is you know, there's such a mix of emotions in the locker room right now of guys who are proud of what we've accomplished and proud of what we've gotten to, and sick about the missed opportunity that was right in front of us. And that's going to sting. That's going to sting for a good while. But I ask the guys to keep their heads up and let this fuel you for what we're going into, and to understand how hard it is to work to get into this position.
Everybody's just happy to have been there, happy to have experienced it, happy about the way they played in the first half, happy about the environment, happy about how they played in the first half. But nobody's got a negative thing to say about
he's a positive guy.
The
Diesel.
awful final possession.
Do
for
you
the
have
Rams.
this moral victory audio from Dave? If not, all right, here it is. This is moral victories.
What are your emotions right now?
They're completely mixed. Just disappointed. You know, as we all know in this league, there are no moral victories. Today is not about a proud moment of losing this opportunity, but it's about a team that came together to play really good football and to battle. And it was, you know, on this stage right here in a primetime opportunity, you know, in the playoffs in the wild card round, unbelievable for the guys to step up and make the plays and play with physicality and our style. Our style was on display today, and I'm really proud of that.
He is a little too positive. I'm with you. He is a little too positive. Yeah, you lost the game, Dave. We don't care about what you lost the game. Hey, take the next step, figure out how to get there. He's a positive guy. I mean, he really is.
Hurricane Jeff texts in, Diesel, you're handsome, you're smart, and doggone it, people like you. I am Stuart Smalley. Thank you, Hurricane Jeff. I appreciate that. And our last piece of audio that I have, Cole, unless you got something else special, here is Rob Manfred talking about this expansion to 32 teams and the league. So this is a little bit longer of a piece of audio. We can cut this whenever we want. It's about 2 minutes long. Talking about the expansion to 32 and the proposal to completely overhaul the face of Major League Baseball. Instead of being AL, NL kind of all mixed together, he wants to basically use the Mississippi as a dividing line. Anybody on the right side of that, you're in the East. Anybody on the left side of that, you're in the West. And we're going to go to geographically aligned divisions. Wow, what a concept, Cole. Here's Rob.
Realignment, right? We got possible expansion and realignment coming up. Where are we with the expansion idea? And then with realignment, can Yankee fan and Met fans, and this would be great for us, can we envision a time where Yankees and Mets are in the same division? What does that mean for American League, National League? We just talked about the tradition of baseball, like how dramatic of this expansion and realignment could change the game.
Yeah, so let's start with, first of all, I would like to expand. I think 32 would be good for us. And, you know, fundamentally, there's a lot of cities like to have Major League Baseball. When people want your product, you ought to try to, you know, find a way to sell it to them. It's kind of basic, number one. Number two, it does a ton of for us from a format perspective. You would realign, you would do it along geographic lines, which could alleviate a ton of the travel burden that's on players. Remember, we ask our players 162 times in 186 days. So most of the play between 162 and 186 travel, right? I mean, so you can eliminate a lot of that travel, make it less burdensome, which would be a great thing in terms of player health and safety. And if you play geographically, we get in a postseason, you know, we have those 4 window days that I love, right? You get 4 baseball games in a day. It's awesome. But when you think about the fans in the individual markets, you always end up with, because of the way we're set up, you know, you get Boston versus Anaheim in one of the early rounds. So you're either going to be too late for the fans in Boston or too early. So if you realign geographically, you would look more like other sports where you play up
into the World Series and West into the World Series. And that 10 o'clock game on the West Coast that sometimes is a problem for us becomes a primetime game on the West Coast for the two teams that are playing. So there's a lot of advantages to it. I think if you did it, you'd probably be 8-4s, right? Okay. And I think you would try to keep the two team cities separate. Okay. Yeah. Got it. So they would not be in the same division. Yes. That would be my thinking. Now, a lot of water got to go over that dam.
I like it. I really do. I like hearing him explain it too.
I think it'd be great. I think it would be great for the game. Yeah, things get a little messy up there in the Northeast because you just got a lot of cities with Major League Baseball teams sort of crammed into an area. It's like being in a conference though in college athletics. Somebody's got to be the outlier. Not everybody's going to be right on top of each other. Somebody's got to fly over a state to get into a conference game.
Yeah,
I think it's one of those things that the purists. I mean, you had your way for a long, long, long time.
Sure.
And we had declining ratings. We had wonkiness when it comes to television time slots. And that's telling right there. It's all about TV time slots, right? It's all about making money, getting better ratings. But, the game is slipping a little bit every single year. You got to do something to shake some things up. And I'm happy that Major League Baseball has a commissioner there who is not digging his heels in saying, we're going to do the things that we've always done. And by God, you ingrate viewers, you just got to find a way to watch our games, pay more money. He's saying, no, we got to change some things up.
Change can be a good thing. And, you'd have to get used to having new divisions with your favorite team or whatever it is, but I don't hate it. Here was Curt Cignetti after the big win.
I know you're thinking about the next game, but when will you stop and appreciate how special and how historic all of this has been?
I'm really not thinking about the next game. I'm thinking about cracking open a beer.
So Cignetti ready to get home to some Brewski's Diesel.
Ooh, what kind of beer do you think Curt Cignetti drinks? Is he a light beer kind of guy?
No, I think he kind of strikes me as a dark beer guy.
Dark beer.
I don't know.
Yeah, I could see
he
him.
might be a man of the people. He might be a man of the people. What about Devontae Adams?
Yeah, I think he said, "Let's go snatch these guys' hearts," and that was pretty. That was pretty cold.
So what is he talking about here, Diesel? What he's talking about is what Matthew Stafford said to the team before the game-winning drive. That audio one more time. What'd Stafford say?
Yeah, I think he said, "Let's go snatch these guys' hearts," and that was pretty. That was pretty cold.
Pretty cold, and that's what he did. He snatched the hearts of Panther fans. Unfortunately, it just has to end that way sometimes. But, hey, guess what? He's been playing this game a long time, Stafford has. Pretty good at it.
Reach the playoffs and have lost than to be the Cowboys and never reach them at all.
I don't know, because you get a better draft pick.
Oh, here we are. All right. Now Cole's playing in this sandbox.
We get a higher draft pick. I've always said the loser of the Super Bowl is in a tough spot. You lose the Super Bowl and you get the second to worst draft pick.
But you already have the best roster in football.
Well, you would think. One stat for you as we run to Chapel Fowler. Diesel tonight, Monday Night Football game, Texans Steelers.
Yeah.
Do you know the last time the Steelers lost a Monday Night Football game at home?
97?
October 14th, 1991.
Wow.
The last time the Steelers lost a Monday Night Football game at home. That would be 23 wins in a row. You going to take Houston tonight?
Yeah. I think Aaron Rodgers' knee is going to crumble into dust.
Do all streaks come to an end? We'll find out tonight. Chapel Fowler of the State Newspaper next. on this Monday. Normally, we are joined by Grayson Mann of TigerNet.com, and always appreciate his time, but he is in the air right now. And as Chapel Fowler said, he's probably still drunk off of a big Patriots win last night. So we'll get to him next week. But Chapel Fowler of the State newspaper, you heard him during football season every other Thursday. Always a good time talking Clemson with Chapel Fowler. What is your immediate reaction, Chapel? Because I had a friend of mine call me this morning and ask me what my thoughts were on Clemson being very, very active. Almost a dozen, I believe. You probably have the count up to date, but very, very active in the portal, especially on the defensive side of things, and even a running back over the weekend with Chad Morris recognizing that need, the new offensive coordinator at Clemson. Now that you've had a day or two to kind of breathe on all of the portal news, what's your instant reaction to what Dabo and crew have done in the portal?
Good to be on with you guys. I think my instant reaction is this had to happen, and I'm pleasantly surprised that it did. I think if you're a fan, regardless of where some of these portal guys rank or how good they're going to be, you have to be excited about Clemson really playing the game that a lot of other people have been playing for a long time. And I would say, and I'm sure you guys would probably agree, and a lot of fans would agree, it was long overdue for them to start doing this. But now it's happening. And I think you look at the speed at which they've operated, how mostly efficient they've been in kind of identifying the guys they want, getting them on campus, getting them to commit. They're up to 10 scholarship transfers right now is the number, I think. Okay. Most of those guys have signed at that point, probably 8 of 10 or maybe 10 of 10 at this point. 10 guys in, obviously there's some big names in there. You just mentioned the running back, Chris Johnson. I think the Cal linebacker, Farrelly, that's a pretty huge pickup. Some really talented defensive backs at the G5 level. These are all positions of need where Clemson really just could not stand pat. So I think more than anything else, it's overdue. But you still have to tip your hat, to them for finally doing it. I think is how I'm kind of looking at it from my point of view.
Chapel, we thought last year that Clemson was exactly the image of what Dabo Swinney wanted it to be. He had an entrenched offensive coordinator, an entrenched quarterback in Cade Klubnik, a lot of 3- and 4-year starters all over that field. We said that last year was a referendum. It was laying bare what Dabo Swinney's philosophy was capable of in this modern world of college football. Now, you can certainly look at the fact that a vast majority of the portal players who have come in being defense is Dabo saying, all right, Tom, you've been a head coach. I trust you to go do your thing. But now only a very limited number of offensive transfers have come in. Would you say that yet again, 2026 is going to lay Dabo's philosophy bare if they choose not to be aggressive on the offensive side of the ball and ultimately if the offense sputters again?
I do. I think I totally agree with you. Last year kind of was a referendum on that. And I think all of the off-season love and kind of the thought from a lot of people, myself included, is, hey, Dabo's gotten some criticism for how he's constructed his roster, but, this is a pretty good one. You've got all these returners, your retention's high, you add a few select portal guys. Let's see how it all plays out. And maybe he does come out on top and say, hey, see, I told you so. That obviously did not happen. The guys that they brought back weren't as good. They obviously needed more transfers. It wasn't just players. There was a million coaching issues and structural and overall issues that kind of the 2025 season kind of begged Clemson to take a harder look at. And I think if you go from preseason number 4 to finishing 7-6, if you don't take a long, hard look at just about everything, you're not doing it right. So I agree with you that Tom Allen seems to really have gotten free reign to kind of pursue the type of guys with the type of hunger and aggression and hard hitting, I love football mentality that he wants and thinks is probably the right way to do his defense. I think you're seeing it a little bit with offense. It's better to have 1 than 0 when it comes to portal additions. But that quarterback question is so key. And I know Larry Williams of Tiger Illustrated has reported, and Clemson's activity in the portal has indicated so far that they're not pursuing a transfer portal quarterback at this moment. Maybe that could change. There's still a few more days. But that's going to be pretty definitive, I think. All these transfers are great. but no transfers at the most important position on the team is going to be a big question that could easily overshadow all of these really good additions that they have made.
Chappell, do you still feel like there are some gaping holes on the offensive line?
Gaping, I'm not sure, but spots where you could probably get guys in, yes. I don't think it's the worst position on the team that needed the most transfer reinforcements. I'd probably put safety and defensive back as a whole up there, and maybe defensive end too. But I know Braden Jacobs is coming back, and that's a guy that Clemson fans rightfully should be really excited about. And there's kind of veteran returners. But that group and that run game last year just was not good enough. And I know that is kind of a premium position. And, maybe all these schools are looking at it salary cap wise, and they think, hey, offensive line, that's the spot where we need to improve, but we really need to improve on defense also. And maybe just with the way the numbers work out and the timing and this and that, maybe we have a better chance if we put our eggs in this basket. But I think they absolutely, I've been surprised that they haven't added anybody on the offensive line. I know they had the ECU guy in their sights for a while until he committed to South Carolina. But that's one absolutely where I think there's got to be at least one, quality, high profile addition, if not a few more G5 guys, just to get some competition going. Because there's returning starters, but there were also returning starters last year, and we saw kind of how that went.
Chappell, could you look at the run? Could you argue that Dabo Swinney is looking at the run that Miami is on now, playing for the national championship coming up here in 7 days, and that's putting legitimate pressure on Dabo to make more moves? I mean, would you say that's part of it?
I think it's less Miami and just college football in general. I mean, Indiana is kind of a special conglomeration of all these cool things happening at once and causing this team to now, be in conversations with 2019 LSU for one of the more dominant, 2018 Clemson for one of the more dominant teams in recent college football history. But like in this sport nowadays, the turnarounds happen quick. They happen on a 1-year basis. There really isn't an excuse to not saying every team is going to kill it on the transfer class every single year and improve drastically and have this historic turnaround like Indiana. That's not possible at every single school. But whether you're a mid-tier G5 or you're kind of in the middle of your conference and trying to take a step up, or you're kind of at the top of your conference and one of those teams like a Clemson that has done it before and has the track record. Like the portal has shown that you can turn around your roster at one specific spot, one position, in one off season, and you can benefit from it immediately. Like there's no 2-3 year crockpot stuff nowadays. And I think fans, those are their expectations. Those are administrators' expectations. The field is so big, it's 12 now. It'll probably be 16. You really just can't stand pat. So again, I tip my hat to Clemson for getting active and bringing in transfers that it really sorely needed. But I think the last few years of not doing that caught up to them. And that's kind of why they got pushed into the portal so much this offseason specifically.
We're talking to Chappell Fowler of the State newspaper right here on the Fan Upstate. Chappell, my last football question for you on the offensive side of things. How much do you believe the return of Wesco and Moore had to do with their lack of offensive moves in the portal, especially at receiver?
I think it did a lot. We have not talked to Dabo Swinney in a press conference format about Chad Morris. That's going to come later this month. But one of the things that stood out to me kind of in Dabo's press release comments was saying that he thought their offensive personnel was elite. And, offensive line, whether or not he was including them in that statement, I don't know. But I'm thinking more about backs and receivers. And I totally agree with the strategy of, let's retain Wesco and Moore as opposed to looking elsewhere, trying to add in a portal guy and get cute, and then suddenly the salaries don't match and you've got something going wrong. Those guys are both certified dudes. I think they have helped Clemson's offense so much, both since they've been here. They're both very good. They'll probably both be, day 1 or day 2 draft picks around this time next year in 2027. And I think they really, helped Clemson get back that wide receiver U moniker to some degree and really helped out Klubnik a lot. I mean, in Vizina's one start. TJ Moore made that ridiculous one-handed catch that was going to be an overthrow otherwise and turned into a 60-yard touchdown or whatever it was. So those guys are very much game changers, program changers, the people you need to retain. So, if Clemson goes into this year without adding a portal receiver, I think most people can stomach that just because of those two guys and getting the lockdown, which is no given nowadays. Everybody's a one-year free agent. So for them to do that, I know Chad Morris and his coming in kind of played a role in getting those two guys locked in. Those are two very big retention wins for Clemson, and they should celebrate that as such.
Chappell, have you heard anything from Chad Morris in the realm of which quarterback on the roster he likes? I mean, is he a big fan of Christopher Vizina's? Is he a fan of maybe somebody who's a little farther down on the depth chart? Has he tipped his hand at all as far as who might be QB1 next year?
I don't think so. I think, again, the probably the bigger question right now is whether or not they bring in a portal guy. And again, all indications are right now that that's not going to happen. So I think spring practice will be big for that. I think about who Chad has had at quarterback when he's been successful, and there is a true kind of dual threat nature to those guys. Obviously, that's probably more Denson than Vizina, but Denson is so raw. Vizina is the one that's a little bit more experienced. You'd imagine that, just going into spring practice right now, regardless of what Dabo or Chad thinks, like Vizina is probably getting your initial first team reps, just given the recruiting pedigree and kind of he's been groomed into that spot behind Cade for a few years now. I think it's been interesting that Dabo has mentioned Tate Reynolds, like specifically in that kind of competition and kind of putting him in that 3-person race, like they've been framing it. And, it's not just the Vizina and Denson battle. It's Vizina, Denson, and Reynolds. Dabo really made a point of that. I remember at signing day, his signing day press conference in December, talking about how, Tate Reynolds is even going to skip this freshman year of baseball, where he's a pretty good player, to make sure he can truly compete for this QB1 spot. So, I mean, I think if they stand pat as is, it's going to be Vizina in week 1, just with Denson's kind of limited development so far and the fact that he is a more raw prospect. But Denson does kind of seem to fit more into that Morris model. I think they should just go for a transfer. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I don't think it's going to happen. So one of those two guys, I guess, probably Vizina. But who knows what Chad is thinking. I'll be interested to ask him about that whenever we finally get him sat down in front of us.
Well, Chappell, after 7 straight wins, Clemson and Brad Brownell, looky here, find themselves in the top 25. Justin Porter, amazing game, 26 points, 5 steals, and the big win over Notre Dame on Saturday. Clemson dominated. They play Boston College tomorrow. 7 straight wins since those back-to-back losses to BYU and Alabama. In your mind, watching this team, covering this team, what switch flipped after those 2 losses?
I think they were just so close in both of those games that, moral victories, nobody wants to hear that. But that was a team that really early on, with a lot of new guys gelling together, figured out pretty quickly that, hey, we can hang with the best of them. I was at that BYU game in MSG, and that's some of the best basketball I've seen them play probably in that mid to late first half, when they went up 22 on a really good BYU team with AJ DeBansa. And then you kind of see that lead wither away, and that's so crushing. But, credit to them for rebounding from that and doing what they've done. I think it's just kind of the belief from the group, like that this is a really experienced group of guys. They are starting to play together more and more now. Like with every game, it seems like there's a little bit more chemistry. I think RJ Godfrey has just improved like massively since the last time he was at Clemson, as kind of a steadying force. And they really are a deeper group. And, sometimes that hurts you because you don't know exactly who you're going to play in crunch time. You have to fiddle with those lineups, but they seem to kind of, their top 5 seems to be separating to some degree. Porter, like you mentioned, is obviously in that group now. He's been huge for them these last few games, but I think it's impressive because for the longest time it was, you add a few select transfers to a roster of homegrown stars like a Tyson or Chase Hunter, PJ Hall, Ian Shefflin. But this year it's almost like a complete roster turnover, and they're still playing that signature tough defense. They're still competing in the ACC. I think they've won something like 22 of their last 24 ACC regular season games now, dating back to last year. So it's very much a competitive group. And I think just being as close as they were in those early heartbreakers probably is doing them well down the stretch here.
Chapel Clemson made its debut in the top 25, sitting at number 22 right now. How does Brad in the past kind of manage the excitement and the expectations now in the face of being ranked within this team in his tenure? You can check my math on this, but he's had his teams ranked for a total of 37 weeks. Most seasons, you get 2 or 3 weeks ranked, and then poof, you're back out again. So how has Brad Brownell in the past sort of managed this uncharted territory for his rosters?
Yeah, I think probably it helps a little bit, his past as a coach at like a Wilmington or Wright State, where it's such a big deal. If you go on a big winning streak, you get into the top 25, and then, one loss, if you're a team on that level, boots you right back out. I think kind of his mindset as a veteran coach is, hey, it matters how you're playing at the end of the year. And, if you're ranked in January, but you're not playing like a ranked team in March, that's obviously not going to serve you well. So I think they appreciate the acknowledgement, and I think it all kind of builds into this, he talks a lot about how good they've been over the last 7 or 8 years, and kind of they like to promote how their stats and their ACC wins and total wins kind of match up with the rest of the conference. And I think it is a good recruiting tool, for Clemson to be ranked, for Clemson to rack up wins at this level. But I think the focus for them just has to be consistency and playing well at the end of the year. Because, you think back to some of these kind of blah ACC tournament showings and kind of how that puts them in a shaky spot heading into March Madness. I think back 2 years ago when they just got blasted by Boston College up in DC. And then obviously they turned that around into an Elite Eight run. So I don't think a January ranking affects them too much, but it certainly is a nice little hat tip for what they've done so far. But again, you've got a team like Boston College tomorrow, and you lose that when you're back out of the rankings again, poof, like you said. So I think especially these January, February rankings, kind of the key to it, and what I think Brad and Clemson try to, get through to those guys is, that's really just a number.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Chapel, you're the best, man. As always, very much appreciate your time. Great stuff, and we will do it again soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
If you work a 9 to 5, you think you know better than career coaches making 100 times your salary? You're listening to the right show.
This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
I'm Tony Desiri with your sports update on the Fan Upstate. College basketball this week. Clemson will be hosting Boston College Tuesday at Little John Coliseum. The Tigers 14-3 and have won 7 straight games. They beat Notre Dame on Saturday to go to 4-0 in the ACC. South Carolina will be in Fayetteville Wednesday night facing 15th-ranked Arkansas. The Gamecocks lost to Georgia Saturday, now 1-2 in the SEC and 10-6 overall. Also Wednesday, Furman will play on the road against the Samford Bulldogs in Alabama. Paladins have won 8 of 9. They beat VMI Saturday, raising their record to 12-5. They're 3-1 in the SoCon. Wofford, they'll host Chattanooga Wednesday night. Terriers had a 4-game win streak snapped on Saturday with a loss to Mercer. They're now 11-6 on the season. Download the Odyssey app and search The Fan Upstate and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on The Fan Upstate.
How would you react if you found an extra $10 in your pocket every month? You'd be happy, right? Your friends at Greenville Federal Credit Union can make it happen. With a Kasasa Cashback checking account from Greenville Federal Credit Union, you'll get up to $10 cash back on debit card purchases and refunds on ATM withdrawal fees. Nationwide, when qualifications are met. Who wouldn't love $10 each month for using their debit card? To get started, visit greenvillefcu.com. That's greenvillefcu.com. Member NCUA.
What's up, everybody? Nick Cosgrove here to help you hooks with Westwood One Sports. Pro football playoff weekend wraps up tonight. Houston, a 3-point road favorite in Pittsburgh. Total of the game is 38. And I really like Pittsburgh plus the points here. Has to be 3. Pittsburgh plus 3. I don't trust Houston's offense. Pittsburgh star wide receiver going to be back in this one. Give me Pittsburgh. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetMGM app today.
You know the rush when you reach that goal, when something you've worked for pays off. That's success. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we believe you should never stop chasing it. That's why we offer a skills-based education that helps move your career forward. Learn how to apply emerging technologies like AI and data science. Build your leadership and critical thinking skills. Apply by February 11th and save with no application fee. Learn more at umgc.edu.
Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Well, Cole, I finally figured it out. How you and I can do literally no work while being here at work.
Wait a minute. Go to sales? Oh, no?
Oh, I hope none of them are listening to the show.
They don't.
Are you familiar with CNET? It's the or CES, the Consumer Electronics Show.
No.
You being in the business of installing and working on security systems, I'm surprised.
No.
It's an annual conference. They do it every year. They show off new tech gadgets that are coming out there. But here's a new one, Cole, that you and I could use. It's from a company called My Persona AI.
Okay.
And you, using the app and their cameras and their microphones, can digitally clone yourself.
Oh.
And then you can tell it what areas you want it to be an expert in. So the image that I'm looking at here, it's of a woman holding, not holding, she's standing right next to a giant video screen with a picture of her with an AI version of her inside of it, but it makes you smarter about the things that you're not smart about. So it uses AI essentially to fill in the gaps of the things you don't know. But then it uses your photos and a voice print of your voice to make it look and sound like you're the one doing the talking.
No way. That just sounds too good to be true. And I've often thought about like needing that at certain points.
I've often thought of doing nothing.
And don't you relate, like at certain points during the show, you wish you knew this little nugget?
Oh, all the time.
Bam, AI.
All the time.
Dude, that would be incredible, man.
They claim that it's intended to be used in like office administration roles where you need to ask somebody a question quickly, and then you don't have to call them. You don't have to email and wait for a response. Like we could just pop open the screen like, hey, I need Steve Sinacroppy to answer this question. It won't really be Steve. It'll just be AI Steve that looks and sounds like Steve.
I like it. I also like you, Tolos. Let's do it again tomorrow right here on the Fan Upstate.
The Fan Upstate.